Good evening and welcome everybody to tonight's special live chat. Thanks for joining me. Make sure if you have a buddy who's not on here, tell all your friends. Now, I have some special guests that we'll get to, but first I want to say thanks to every one of you who were able to come to the North American Honeybee Expo this year. It was just a rush. Absolutely crazy, like usual, but it's always excuse the pun, humming with excitement, buzzing, whichever term that you want to use. And it's because there's so much creativity that goes on there. We have so many cool vendors with huge booths, and there's so much interaction going on. It's really almost just gotten out of control, so to speak. And it's just amazing to see all the different pieces. You'll have this crew of guys from Nature's Image Farm over here, working with a couple other companies within the booth, like that crook Jason and his the Queen Right dial, of course, Brian Coper. And then of course you have all these YouTubers and podcasters. You'll run into Fred Dunn doing his interviews and confusing people to death with his dry humor. Dial it in. Dadgummit, we haven't even gotten 10 minutes into this thing. We've already got there. So we also had, of course, the Bee Supply, Commercial Bee Supply, Blake Shook's companies having their interactive panels. Dancing Bee had a lot of hands-on activities. And, of course, the Hilco booth was crazy massive and was just like a hive all unto itself. And then there was tons of small booths that had a lot of custom, unique things, decorative things. It was just absolutely insane. So thank you guys for coming. And we're going to have all kinds of questions for you guys to take. And then we're going to get to some of the people that made it happen. So Colorado, we had every state represented. I know that the pin board didn't always show. I think there was one state that didn't have somebody in there, but I know at least 6 people from that state that came. And so we had every state, we had almost every Canadian province, and just shy of 100 Canadians. And then we just had all kinds of countries. It was north of 30. I can't remember the exact amount. Hey, Brian, thank you so much. Wait a minute. Is this for the dialed in plug? Is this what this money is for? So now whenever I say dialed, and I'm going to get some feedback, I want to say it 100 times, I suppose, Chris. We're going to actually be able to go on a vacation. So we have a new member, Gene McConnell. Thanks, Gene, for hopping on board. And I am super excited to welcome Chris Madera aboard. We are not like officially going full-time as of like right now, but we are in the process of getting all of that figured out. Let's welcome Chris Madera into the group, please. Come on, Chris. Make yourself a little bit. There we go.
Evening, everybody.
I do appreciate the contrast. So Chris is not perfect. He's an Ohio State fan.
Gotta represent.
Everybody needs somebody to help show them the way. I'm that for Chris, I suppose.
Yeah, it's all good.
Chris is there to show me the way when it comes to computers and and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you talk close to the mic, Chris. Can everybody hear Chris?
I think everybody can hear me.
Okay, my speaker is, I think, messing up. It's just on my end.
No problem.
So, Chris, when did you start helping me out? What year was that?
So it's been 4 years. It was after your first one. I knew that you had your first one. I didn't go to it. But then after your first one, I emailed you probably in just call it September, August, September, October, somewhere in there. And then from there to the expo, I helped you with like your logo and all that stuff. And then I showed up a little early, and you had to come on, show me the door was unlocked, and then I guarded the door the first year.
Yeah, you guarded the doors pretty much.
Guarded the door with the summers. I don't know if Jeremy and I probably technically met that year, but yeah, we weren't best friends yet. And then the rest is history. So
Yeah, it's been just a steady incline upwards, and a lot of that has been brought on by you. So many of you probably already know, but for those who don't, Chris pretty much single-handedly does the website, the the event guides, any of the signage that you see there. The majority of that is custom done by Chris. The all the logos that we've had in the past and in the present, Chris designed those, and it just done a lot of stuff, and many other things besides just social media related stuff and signage. He's helped me do some stuff with bees a few times, and really helped a lot with the event planning, talking to some of the decorators and coordinators. So Chris, obviously we've done quite a bit together over the last few years, and it's been
Yeah.
intense. We've had to kick some butt, and we won't even name all the butts and whose name belongs with the butt that we've had to kick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that being said, though, it has been fun most of the time. I would think.
Yeah.
And
We've
you've
gone
never
to
been bored.
Texas. We've gone to Wisconsin. Yeah, we've had lots of fun. We've come up here. You've had fish at my house. You've slung my kids over your shoulder and run them around the house. Played soccer with them in the yard. All good things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Roman's already a quarter my size, and he's like 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
he's a dense little boy, but
Uh-huh.
so yeah, we've had a lot of fun. But the main thing that I appreciate about Chris is he's always been super positive. Even going through some tough stuff in the past, he's like, "Hey, we've got this." On the days that I'm down, you've always encouraged me to pick myself up and get this conference going. The conference wouldn't look anything like what it is right now without Chris, and he's just been an awesome guy, awesome enough that we're going to be dealing with him quite a bit. So full time here before too long. We are in I was just talking with people about that today. So exciting stuff. And
Very exciting.
yeah,
Thank you for your kind words.
oh, no problem. Chris is going to be able to help us do so much more stuff, like the workshops and stuff. Uh, a lot of the reasons, I guess I'm just going to get to that. Many of you probably have questions on workshops and logistics for the future. A lot of the stuff that we're doing, we probably shouldn't have done yet. We probably should have waited another year, but because Chris has been basically working a full-time job, driving, commuting. Then, he's got 2 young kids, and then he works from a lot of times from like 9 p.m. till 1 in the morning, helping us work on stuff a few days a week. So, that's a lot of hours right there. And I've worked with Chris until like 2:30, 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. and we're just both 50% of our
Last year's event guide, we pulled an all-nighter doing the event guide for last year. So yeah, it was fun.
It was
times.
rough,
But it builds trust and camaraderie, and it's fun. I wouldn't be here if I didn't enjoy it, for sure. So
yeah. So we're always pushing things forward. And so, and as far as the workshops, I apologize. A lot of people weren't able to go to them. We're dealing with a lot of new stuff, and we're not experts at this stuff. We're figuring out as we go along. So with the workshops having what was almost 3,000 attendees this year and about 3,600 total people, it's hard to fit that many people into some workshops. We have already talked about various ideas, even to the extent of maybe extending the expo another day, which some of my staff is excited and some of them are terrified. But it would be primarily just for workshops and networking. It would be a totally different thing than we've done before. And so we're looking into how that could look. And also we're looking to have more workshops during the event. This year was the first year for the guys doing our workshops to really do them like that. And they were super successful. One of the things I'm most proud of, Chris's dad, Keith, was in there working with Etienne on the microscopy class. And so now they're planning to divide and conquer in the future so that there's multiple rooms. The trick is we'll just have to get more microscopes, I guess, Chris. We'll just what's another 10 microscopes? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, just borrow them from a local university. You got to make sure we return them by Monday.
turn them by Monday. Yeah, and hopefully we won't break any of those. And so, but we're looking to figure that out, um, and have a lot more offerings there. And we'll have that stuff announced way in advance. We thought that we weren't going to be able to actually get the workshops off this year. Of course, Chris gets on to me for this. I promise big, typically in October, and then somehow in December have to find out how to deliver, because things catch up with us. But Chris is already working towards next year's exposition, and so are the other guys that I'm fixing to bring on, and my mother, who I'm also going to be bringing on. Why don't we go ahead and bring my mom on right now? Let's do that, Chris.
Sure, of course.
Hey, Mom, how's it going?
Hey, good.
So this is the one that kind of started it all right here. So thanks, Mom, for not taking me out when you thought about it a few times. So my mom runs the Next Gen program, which, for those of you who don't know, is our kid program. Mom seems to work pretty well with kids, and maybe it's just because she raised us three boys, and if she could deal with us three boys in a 4.5-year period, she can handle anything.
Always loved kids.
Yeah,
always have.
So out of some of the things with the Next Gen program, Mom, what was some of the cool things that you can talk about that you saw, and impacts maybe?
Oh, wow. So talking back and forth with the parents and stuff, I felt like I knew a little bit about the ones who got to be a Next Gen and their guardian or parent.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really neat to meet them. And then to hear throughout the time, each one, like, just be blown away by the experience. We had 9 returning, but the rest of them were new. They had never been. And so they didn't know what to expect. And they were just blown away by how much there was to do, and interacting with, especially people in the trade show. But some of them had people stop them to encourage them just because they saw their shirts on, and they felt really special.
So Dave Hansberry, I know who this Hansberry is. Came and your mom looks younger than you. I can't help it if I'm ugly and old looking. And it's crazy. My mom, she does not dye her hair or anything. It doesn't make any sense at all, but it is. All three of us boys have more gray hair than our mother does. So
Moving
good on
right
you, Mom.
along.
Yeah.
Which,
Well, I mean, yeah, lots of grays on the side, but working on it. Yeah, of course, Paul Hell with Hell's Hives. That's got to be your sister came. We were sitting and having a lunch on Friday, I think it was, you, me, and Ethan. And did he think that Ethan was my father, or that you were my sister? I can't remember which one it was.
well, he thought I was Ethan's wife. So then when I started mothering you about making sure you were eating, he was like, that's really weird that his sister-in-law was mothering him while
That's right.
about
Yeah.
eating. I was like, we have plenty of food. Eat, eat. So
yeah,
anyway.
there's Ian trying to butter you up too. These guys know how to get on your good side. They know who really matters. They don't care about my feelings. That's all right. Good to see you, Ian. Oh, David Hunter. Hey, thanks for
Thank
supporting
you,
our kid
David.
program.
Yep.
So
Thanks.
David actually helped us pack the bags, and prior to the expo. Thanks for helping us do that, David. That was a lot of work, and those were stinking heavy too. And
I got to meet him and his wife there.
Yeah. Super helpful. So, we had a fun time parading around the trade show, going to Hillco. Do you mind explaining what we did there at Hillco?
So, we just were in the main lobby, and we got to, so you have 41 youth, and then you have 41 guardian. That's a lot of people walking through the trade show. But we got to take them back to the Hillco booth, and they each one got a smoker box that was designed and everything with the logo of the Bee Expo, the logo of the Next Gen, and then the Hillco logo, which was really priceless and cool.
Well,
So
not
they
not
loved
the
it.
Hilco logo was priceless. The just the whole package. Just to clarify, you know,
Just so that
John's
they can remember actually who made it.
that's right. Yeah, super generous of
Who
John. He
gifted it.
reached.
Yeah, for sure. And he was just so great that even during the whole expo, he would stop and talk to them and then just encourage them. And so it wasn't just when we were there getting the smoker boxes. It was, throughout
Mhm.
the whole time.
We There was a lot of things that went on, and some of it, people wanted to really remain anonymous, and so we won't talk about it. But just from mom's perspective and my perspective, and just the kids that got to be involved with, there was a lot of individuals who just while being there saw a need and stepped in and helped the kids out a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I was blown away and brought to tears many, many times because people didn't know the circumstances. Some of the times I knew the circumstances, but some people did not, and they still, were just extremely giving and generous and encouraging.
Yeah, it's really neat to see, and we have just a great community in beekeeping. It's I've said this before, I'll keep saying it. Percentage wise, the nicest group of people that you'll ever meet. Uh, we see so much people mobilizing towards helping veterans with several of the organizations that are working with the veterans, like Mission Believe, Heroes to Hives, Hives for Heroes, and of course, the kid program. The silent auction raised 17,000 and something dollars this year, and Andrea and her husband Mark, and Zach McDade and several others, all really helped make that work. And it's just all that money goes to helping bring more kids back each year, and to giving them a special time, excuse me, and sessions. And also, we are looking to do so much more. So I was on the phone um, today talking a lot with a friend about the FFA, Family Farm Association, and how that we're not, as a beekeeping community, doing a whole lot there. And in some cases, we're doing nothing. And I think this is a terrible missed opportunity, because with tens upon tens of thousands of youths into those programs, beekeeping definitely needs to be represented. So we're going to be also targeting those areas quite heavily, because we have to. I mean, kids are critical to the next generation. We're only so healthy as the next generation that decides to pick up the torch and go with it. And so we're hoping that we can get really involved with more kids than just with the Next Gen B program, and see what all we can do. So that's something that is also born of all of this effort. So 17,000 from the silent auction. Future Farmers of America. Yeah, one of those things. So I just know it's FFA. As you can tell, I was never involved with 4-H or FFA or anything like that. Basically, I was homeschooled, and I just read books on bees, and every now and then a Joel Salatin book, and that was about it. A little bit of J.R.R. Tolkien. That's, but yeah, I don't even know what happened around 2000, 2010. A lot of people are like, yeah, this is your music, right? And I'm like, is that really from my era? Like, yeah, it's your stuff. And Chris is always just shaking his head like, you're so old.
I always it's my job to educate you,
Yeah.
on all the things you missed.
His brothers listen to music. He chose not to. He really had his head in a book all the time. I mean, he really did. He was reading all the time, or
So
woodworking,
yeah,
or
woodworking,
beekeeping.
beekeeping.
Thanks, Hail Hives. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, this is a temporary promotion. I'm not going to subject you guys to seeing Chris's face too often. You're welcome. Um, Now my mother's, that might be pretty good. So, Rob Tuttle makes a very good point. Copper Canyon helped out too, I believe. Impressive. So yes, I think a lot of people thought they were, tipping Copper Canyon. I didn't see if it said what it was for, but the last 2 years, everything that Copper Canyon has brought in for tips, they donate to the youth program as well, which is totaled up to
Mm.
this year and last year combined $2,000. So last year they sponsored, I think it was $900 they raised, and this year it was like $1,200. So it's another significant amount, so that we'll have our biggest group of young people yet. And that's really generous of them to do so. The Copper Canyon folks, and Rob was one of the guys with the booth, helping make it happen. Just super supportive of everything that we do. If you guys want to buy coffee online, I really mean this. It's some of the best coffee I've ever had. Sean is a great guy. His family's was all there. They were great. He support.
They have a great selection too. If you go online, they do all their stuff, all the roasting, everything. It's all it's all super legit. And I say that as someone who folded 250 burlap sacks today that they get live into their studio. I have a couple of their burlap bags.
So they donate a lot, and they also send out pollinator seed packets. They've sent out tons of seeds. They do a lot of stuff to benefit pollinators, and then they're beekeepers themselves, and so they do a lot to support our conference and make it absolutely stellar. And they knock it out of the park each year. So, if you're going to spend money and you want to make sure that your money's going into coffee that is not going to some big tycoon that doesn't care about you, Copper Canyon Coffee Roasters hits the spot. So all of this with the Next Gen program. So we also went to Apis Tactical, Mom, and we got to try on bee gloves for all the kids, and they got to take some home with them.
So after leaving Hilco, we got to go there, and they got to try them on, and they got to choose either short or long gloves, and the size that they needed to fit them perfectly. It was just really amazing. It's such a great gift.
It is very generous, and of course, we've just had several. Barry Brown, who, anyone who's met Barry, he's soft spoken and he's short like I am, and he's not loud, and so he doesn't stand out as much. But he makes some of the best creamed honey. It's so smooth, and he grinds it all by hand. He's helped a lot of people in this region, and he gives the kids each year a high quality Queen marking pen, one of the really nice one Chris Warner uses, and I like to use now as well. Oh, yep, there's one right there. And he got the light colored blue ones so that they can easily find the Queens. So thank you, Barry, if you're watching. There's a lot of people like Barry.
He's awesome.
A lot of people work behind the scenes like Barry, and they don't really get a lot of credit. There's several guys in the crowd here that I've seen. One is Steve Amos, and Jeff Hyde with Apis Tactical. Yeah, we really appreciate you, Jeff. I really like those comfortable gloves too, and appreciate you bringing some innovation into the market. There's a lot of products out there, and for some people maybe they don't want gloves at all, but it's, as someone who's been in the industry for 23 years, I find it super exciting to have a lot of cool looking options coming, and also some different options. It's refreshing to see some exciting regenerative type things in our industry. So Jeff, thanks for investing into beekeeping, and I look forward to seeing your new bee suits coming out here in the upcoming months. And whenever those happen, you guys will see it on my YouTube channel, and we'll be showing you guys how they work and what they look like. So Steve Amos is in here, Randy Southard's in here, and we have several others that have helped out as well. I can't, of course, there's so many things to scroll through. I'll pull you guys back up here later, but I appreciate it. And I wanted to say a big thank you to ECP, Chris Chadwick, great expo, came in Laurel, looking forward to next year. Like many, I packed my truck. More snow on its way tonight. Well, we don't need any more of that. Let's see here. Thank you so much for supporting us again, Chris. And there was one from Paul. There it is, Paul Martins. Paul, it was good to meet you again, and thank you for supporting everything that we do and our youth and stuff. Here, Your crew did a fantastic job as usual, especially St. Chris. You know, Chris has actually taken his honey to be made into mead, and Chris is a Catholic, so don't hold. He's an Ohio State fan, and he's a Catholic. So again, no one's perfect.
Checking boxes.
Right. We're hiring this guy. I'm sorry, Chris.
Can't do any better.
I've told you this, and I'm going to keep telling you this until you do it. You need to have on the label, because monks and stuff did some of the original mead. It needs to be Father Christopher's mead, or it needs to be Friar Christopher's.
I think I'd get better reception in my family by saying either brother or friar. Yeah, if I start attaching the
father side,
the father gets
I can see your grandmother, and let's go ahead and talk about them just real quick. You may have seen Duff and Tekla with the orange lanyards on up towards the front. Super sweet folks, but they work their tails off at the expo, and they're the type of people that I see so often in beekeeping, and I love the most because they probably shouldn't work as hard as they do. But if you try to take care of them and say, hey, you've worked a lot today, why don't you take a break for a little bit? They get offended. Like, what do you think? I can't work? I'm ready to go. Come on, feed me, man. And that's exactly the way that your grandparents are. They just want to be put to work, and they're tough.
Yep. That's where I learned.
What'd you say, Mom?
They just have huge smiles too. They're just, they're just really sweet.
They do. And so, mom deals with all the correspondence primarily with the next gen, and she deals with just stuff, logistics there, meeting up and making sure everyone gets t-shirts and also gets their hotel reimbursement. Mom handles all of that. And so I really appreciate you helping me with that, Mom. The program continues to grow, and we expect to see that to grow this year and on into the future. So thank you all for doing that. And Mom, thank you for helping me with everything over the last 36 years, but especially the Next Gen program as of recently.
I love doing it. One more is Rossman. We can't forget Rossman. Just the last one, but not the least of just sponsors that were super encouraging, and giving and just great company.
Yes, Rossman has been a huge supporter of ours for at least 3 years. On the coffee, they sponsor a lot of the coffee, and they have always helped with the youth program quite a bit. And it's people like them and several others behind the scenes that do so much. And anyone who donated to the silent auction or bid on anything in the silent auction, thank you so much as well. That is the fuel that helps out so much. And of course, there are several people who have donated to our live streams to support that as well. And so that's where we're going to be able to grow this thing into the next year, and then go beyond that and go to the FFA and 4-H and see just what we can do, because my hope is that we can coach, if you will, hundreds and hundreds of kids from agriculture. And it's not that they'll just be completely removed from agriculture, but Ian Stepler is a great example of somebody who was in neck deep into agriculture, doing canola and other types of things, charlets, with his family, and then also branched out into beekeeping because it's very complementary to canola, because he can produce so much canola honey, but he also is getting bigger seeds and more seeds because of the incredible pollination. So I think we need to get more of these kids involved. And of course, a lot of our technology and new ideas are going to come from the younger generation, as they typically do, because they understand the new technology. And boy, I do not. So I want them to do it so I don't have to figure it out. Apple Yard Apiary, thank you so much for supporting us and these kids.
Thank you.
So you know who they are, Mom. So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Mom, I think I'm going to let you go and bring on some of the other fellas.
All right.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
online. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, Chris. We had a lot of crazy action. So for those of you who didn't know, this year we did something different, which worked out quite well. And it was several of us showed up a few days beforehand. So we have Thursday, which is half a day for you all, and then that morning there's load in for the vendors until 12 o'clock. But then the day before it's just a solid load in day, and we've all for vendors, and we've always had that. But this year, 2 days prior to that, we were bringing in semis of product and setting up. And that really helped us all be able to get organized and be able to have some camaraderie and some fun and also console each other as we started to panic.
Nah, there's no panic.
There was no panicking. We got a great crew of guys. Let's bring on Jeremy and Jacob, please. All right. Hey, fellas. Thanks for waiting patiently.
How we doing?
How did he get the fireworks?
Jeremy got the fireworks.
That was
Already
wild.
a good start.
I started to
How
look
did that
behind me.
happen?
Thought there's something going on behind me.
Oh, that's not flatulence, is it? That's
No.
So, of course, Chris is more of the social media handle, all that stuff. Jeremy's like the vendor and general trade show operations coordinator, and Jacob is like vendor storage, semis coming in coordinator, and overall bouncer when necessary.
Yeah.
The YouTube doesn't see, like right now I almost look as big as Jake, almost. That the camera lies
almost
to
Jake
you.
size.
Yeah.
The camera significantly lies to you. So Jeremy, thanks for helping us out. You started with us in our first year of Sevierville.
That's correct. Same year as Chris.
Yeah, same year as Chris, and we tried to get rid of you because we weren't sure if we wanted your help or not. And you had followed us on YouTube, and so we knew kind of who you were to a degree, but you wouldn't leave well enough alone. And we actually got in a tight spot with the merch booth, and you were folding shirts like a madman.
Yeah. Do you remember visiting me while you were up in Dandridge for the holidays?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, if you get a chance to get out, and you're like, you know what? I need a breath of fresh air. What's your address? I was like, okay, come on up. So.
Yeah, that's and here we are. And so you've helped us out a ton with dealing with vendors and trying to smooth things over, and then smacking people when they get smacked and
learning as I go, because like I said, full disclosure, I don't know nothing about any of that, but I'm willing to learn. And so it's been fun. It's been growing pains. It's been stressful this year though, and everybody had already said it. It was more relaxed, way more relaxed. The way Jake had the storage set up for the semis and everything, it was running like a well-oiled machine.
So Jake, you haven't said much yet, which I kind of like that. But Jake's helped us out with a lot of stuff. Also helped with the commercial sessions and helping orchestrate those and get those commercial beekeepers to actually shut up and sit down and get organized. It's hard, isn't it, Jake?
That's right. It is hard. So, but I think everything went pretty well. It was a lot. It was a big task, but we got a good team. I think we do. So
we had a lot of fun. A lot of product came in. So what if you guys had to pick one thing that you thought, or a couple of things that really stood out to you that was really helpful this year, what would that be?
Electric pallet jacks.
I knew that was fixing to happen.
We just needed 2 more because Clay, once he got on one, it was right around time. Sorry, Clay. Clayton. Sorry, Clay.
We got good at that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ryan Arnold, I don't know if he's on tonight or not.
He is. I saw him earlier.
He's here. Yeah,
okay. Good deal, Ryan. Thanks for tuning in. Ryan also showed up early and helped us out. And coffee.
Coffee.
Sean, talk about a shameless plug though, right there. We've already talked about Copper Canyon a lot. What's the number one thing that helped out? And Sean's like coffee.
It's true.
Well,
It's
for sure.
true.
It is.
We drank a lot of it.
Well, we did. So I actually have the numbers right here, folks.
Oh.
So 2025 Bee Expo stats: over 7,800 cups of coffee, 786 cups of tea. So I didn't realize the contrast was 10 times greater for coffee. I knew it'd be significantly greater, but I didn't realize it'd be 10 times greater. 200 and like almost 50 cups of hot chocolate, 196 quarts of half and half, and nearly 8 gallons of honey. Thanks everybody who brought up honey for that. That really helped Sean out a lot. And over 2,000 raw sugar packets, 825 gallons of water to make all that stuff. So, I mean, that's a lot of tonnage right there of liquids, but we handled it. We got rid of it.
And a quick side story, and Sean, I'm sure would tell the better story, but because the storm, the impending storm, Sean had a heck of a time going out and restocking his half and half because Louisville had a hold on purchasing dairy products. And the best part was they didn't just, it wasn't per purchase, it was per credit card. They actually tracked your credit card. So if you went to Walmart twice in a row with the same credit card and tried to pay, they'd block you for it. So even more kudos to Sean and his team. They really had to figure out the half and half thing because the storm was coming in. Louisville really cracked down on that. So that was pretty funny. So
had to go find their own cows and just milk it and make it themselves.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, you probably gonna say what I was gonna say. At the very beginning, he had to rebuild a panel because they stole it off his truck.
Yep. Before he even moved any of his stuff in, he had to, in the parking lot of Home Depot, had to rebuild all of his electrical stuff. Mm-hmm. So Sean's the man.
Oh man, nice. Brian Reese, thank you so much. And speaking of Brian, I was fixing to get around to you because Brian shows up like every year from the first one. We have only a handful of guys that have made it to every one of them, and Larry Cameron and Brian Reese are among those guys. Brian, really appreciate you and your son showing up this year. You guys on the front end with merch and check-in and police in the front, you guys did way more than what we asked you to do. You just show up and you always just handle it. We really appreciate you, being a friend and also helping out there and somebody we can count on way more than what we'd ever expect. Thank you for supporting our next gen so much. So this really goes with it right here. A question from Jonathan Bennett. And hey, Jonathan, it's good to see you again. What does it cost per next gen beekeeper for them to come to the expo? So the first thing is we give them $300 each to go towards a hotel or expenses. And we may bump that up eventually as inflation goes up too. But that's what we started out with, was $300 reimbursement. We make them shirts and stuff. We also this year had to add some things to the speaking room as well. Some of it was like audio, projectors. We also get them, some years it's bee suits, some years we're partnering with companies, and sometimes the companies donate flat outright. And then sometimes we're actually, they're giving it to us at a discounted price, and then we're using some of that money to get them some product. And then also, hiring some guys for the sessions. So it roughly costs between the guardian and the kid and somewhere in around $500. It depends on how much we do, how much it costs. And then sometimes we end up with some money to roll over. Like this year we had a kid or two that wasn't able to make it last minute for whatever reason. So that money just gets rolled over to the next year. And so now that Chris is being brought on board, that's where we really want to crank this up more. And also we're wanting to get, as we increase the microscopy workshop and other workshops, we want to have a microscopy class for the youth as well. And so, and not obviously not any charge for that for the youth. So we're wanting to really get more involved, but it's around $500. So can you explain how kids, young people apply to get into the next generation project? So right now we're shooting for 10 to 20 is the age range. And this is primarily because this is fairly intense. While there are some young men and women who are younger than that are very into bees, we're really not trying to find new beekeepers. We're trying to find young men and women who are already, they're not thinking about getting into bees or going, I'm not sure if I want to do this. These are already kids that are sold on it. They have to send in a YouTube video, a short one. And usually it helps if they send in an email so we can kind of evaluate how serious they are, or if it's just their parents trying to get in on one of the kids. We never have that happen. But we want hardcore kids because our goal is to reinforce their love for beekeeping that they already have. We want them to blow their minds with the expo. We want them to get to meet, like this year, they were able to do some workshops with, a special Q&A session with Bob Benny and Blake Shook, both extremely nice and some of the best of our industry, in my opinion. And so that we want to get them exposed to these great beekeepers and good people and inspire them, and also, give them some stuff as well. But so we want them, the applications usually go out around June or July. What are you laughing at, Chris? What now?
Sorry.
This
Hail Hives just
Paul Hell. What is the last gen program for seniors 65 plus launching?
well, just
wow.
let that just let that lie.
I think we got that one scheduled for Expo 2045. I'll let you
Yeah.
know when that we get started a little bit closer. So currently, Chris Burris, the next gen program is not a 501c3. So we had our fill of a nonprofit last go around, and that's how I'm going to leave that. We may, and we have looked into maybe doing a 501c3 just for the kids. I now have an accountant who's helping me make sure everything's done well.
Above board.
Above board, because I wasn't handling that prior, and that was a fun adventure. I'm going to leave it at that. So that being said, even though we are getting shredded by the federal government, like they do to all of us, tax-wise, that $17,000 that was raised and all this stuff by Copper Canyon, we don't count the taxes coming out of that. We eat the taxes on our end, and we make sure that whatever that number is, that's what's going to the youth program. So it would be wise to make it a 501c3 in the future, just because there are some advantages and stuff. And as we look into FFA and 4-H more, I would love to get hundreds of young, respectable men and women into the expo, and that is my plan. We'll see how far we get along with that. Jake's looking into some of that for us. I appreciate you helping with that, Jake, because we really need to. We were talking about this, and I'll get back to you guys in a second. I'm sorry, I get on my tangents. You guys know me a little too well.
As long as you don't overpromise, that's all we need.
I got
Not
the mute button. I got the mute button on this side.
So this is something I was thinking about, though. I mean, I have talked to multiple guys in the last year that are really into beekeeping. They're commercial level beekeepers, but they started in ag. Of course, there's Ian, but I've met a few other guys, and one of them's Tom, and he plants all kinds of stuff for wildlife, and also, corn and various other things. But once these commercial farmers realize, whoa, there is a need for better forage for bees, many of them go, well, I've already got this equipment to plant. Why don't I plant a certain amount of it for bees as well? Because once you turn them into beekeepers, they really think differently about spraying. They think a lot different about a habitat for bees. So if we can go to the FFA, this huge convention, which I've been told has had over 70,000 young men and women show up to it each year. And what we're wanting to do here, I'm going to overpromise here, Jeremy. Brace for it.
You listening, Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, I got the mute button.
Mute button. Get
So
it ready.
I talked to
What? Can you hear him at all? I hate when that happens.
Come on. Okay. So I've talked to some companies and they're already behind it, to where what I want to do is put together multiple companies to go in on a great booth that's going to just shock in all these farm kids and go, wow, beekeeping, you actually can make some money doing it. It can be fun. It can be good. We want to educate them not only about, hey, bees are important, but get them involved. Because what happens if over the next 20 years, we do a good job of reaching out to these 70,000 kids? We start grabbing a few hundred of them a year into beekeeping. That's going to help boost our economy. It's also going to boost the prospects of more researchers, better beekeepers, maybe tomorrow's teachers, and also tomorrow's bee club leaders, presidents of associations, whatever. But what I'm thinking is, how many of them then go out and maybe they just do it as a sideline? Maybe they're running cucumbers or watermelons or apple orchards with their family business that they already have with their grandpa and their dad and mother, whoever it is. But we're educating them on the importance of bees, and they see how much it's profitable for their business, and it's also good for the environment. My thoughts is, can we change to a decent extent how these farmers view bees and the importance of them? And we don't have to complain and go as much about, hey, these guys are just spraying and they don't care about our bees. Now that they're with us on it, because they're also beekeepers too, they're actually advocating for us to their other farm buddies about planting more bee forage, spraying less, which makes it a better, obviously better opportunity for all beekeepers and a safer environment for bees. So I'm going to get off my soapbox, but we're already moving forward on that. So you guys here in this group and others may get involved with that. And I think if we put the bee community behind it, I want it to be something that when these people see it, they just go, oh my goodness, how have I not seen this before? And then we're going to go from there and bring them into the expo. And then that's where we're going to knock their socks off and get these kids to stay in, and then eventually turn them into laborers at the Bee Expo. Oh, I forgot. No, I'm just kidding. So electric pallet jacks, Jake. That was the best part, huh?
Yeah, we just need 4 instead of 2.
Well, I got 2 this year, which is better than none, which is what we had.
Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, especially when Ryan and Jake was moving those heavy pallets of global patties.
Oh man,
Can you imagine having to
so
wheel
heavy.
those manually? Ooh-wee.
they were a lifesaver.
I don't have to imagine it. You and I, Jeremy, wheeled them manually the year before.
We did, but I'm saying as far as we were going, because we went over to the overflow, most people didn't know behind the food court we had overflow back here. Most people didn't wander over there, so
Yeah,
there's a lot over there. So,
Well, thanks, Rob, for saying that. You know, we know this community really well, and it's 2026 pallet jack races. Yeah, I'm sure the Expo Center will be thrilled with that.
Jessica will be honest.
Yeah, they'll be honest, like we were on a couple of those Chinese guys trying to get in for free.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. But the close on the youth thing, we know with this community that we have a lot of support for good things, as long as the work's actually being done. We will let you know how that develops, and our goal is to make it to where the community of beekeeping can come together and make real difference. And I hate, just as much as anybody, throwing money at something and not seeing it actually do anything. Kind of like every time the government takes my taxes and I go watch them do stuff with that. So
yeah,
the hive tool toss and the bottle filling contest, that actually would be pretty slick. I think, maybe the bottle filling contest, I'm sure we could get away with that. Hive tool toss, I don't know. I don't think they'd let us do that, Chris.
Probably not.
It's just it's 2025. There's too much safety everywhere. We'll live longer, but we'll have less fun.
You can't even have a battery inside the expo center. You honestly think they're gonna let you throw some tools?
I forgot about that. Why don't you explain that a little bit, Jeremy?
Well, we brought in Mr. Bartell with his easy lift. Was it easy lift?
Easy loader. Yeah, the thing
Easy
Ian
loader,
uses
excuse me.
is over by the food
Yeah.
court.
So we
The
thought we was
Ian
gonna
lifter.
get the demo until they said you have to disconnect the battery, and he was like, "It won't work without that." And they were like, "Well, that's the whole point." We're like, "Okay." So no batteries. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the gist of it. So we'll have to work logistics out on that for next year.
So, well, we obviously we're still learning a few odds and ends, and that's one of the reasons why we haven't decided dates and we haven't decided location yet. But it's one of the reasons why we'd like to stay with the Kentucky Expo Center. I know that there's some cons to that and whatnot, but it takes way more than a year to figure out a location. We're 2 years in, and I would just say now we're at a point where we're starting to feel comfortable with this location. And I have my team to think of. I mean, these guys are really good at handling situations, but they're also there to not be stressed out either. I mean, they don't like having to deal with surprises.
Like being a dock master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always the gift that
But
keeps on
you know,
giving.
we adapted, and again, that was something new this year. And you know, everything flowed really good. But then once we got a really good handle on that dock with Jake, Steve Amos, Derek Crump was awesome. You know, David McDade, all those guys was just. I mean, once we finally got a handle on it, it was like a well-oiled machine. Ryan Arnold, I mean, he was awesome. Very quiet, but he's really good. So
I don't think you mess with Ryan when he gets
Yeah.
upset. You'll never know until it's too late.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that helped us with the expo that are
Yes.
not here
Yeah.
in this video chat. And
100%.
Definitely shout out to all of them.
Yeah.
Some of the names he mentioned and even more. Like Cayman was talking about earlier, we had a lot of product come in. I believe I lost track, but it's around 40 semis, over 1,000 pallets of product had to be unloaded and brought into the storage area to make this happen. And so it was a huge undertaking, and you know, shout out to all the people that showed up and helped out with us.
Yeah, there's a whole list. Yeah, because you got Clayton and Ethan and
Zach Madera,
Zach, the Madera.
for sure,
boys,
he's a huge help.
Yeah, Zach was awesome. Hank, you know, he helped.
Oh yeah, Hank.
You can't say enough about Andrea Porter with the silent auction. Her and her husband was awesome on doing the silent auction.
Yeah, it does
Haven't
take.
heard back
It's a
this
team.
year.
It takes a village. It's a team effort to make all this happen.
It's a small army just basically at this point, and it's a lot of hours. And all you guys are almost everybody on our team is beekeepers. There's a few exceptions to that. Some is Chris's family, some of them is my family, but I'm working them into the bee industry whether they like to or not. And you just you know, and then there's there's some of my buddies that like Clayton and then of course Josh, who's helped us for multiple years. I can't remember, at least 4, I'm thinking. And so, you know, these guys don't keep bees, but they help us a lot behind the scenes. And a lot of these guys don't want to be in front of the camera. And so you'll probably be seeing some stuff from them in the future. But, you know, if you see an orange lanyard at expos in the future, that means they have permission to kick your butt and take your names and be nice to them. Honestly, they'll call Jake or Ryan, Amos,
Hey,
or one of the
Jake,
big
or
boys.
Steve, call Amos. Hey, Steve.
Yeah, Steve will get after him.
Yeah,
He says,
Steve's
"Boy,
a really nice guy until he isn't anymore. And then he'll
But
just
look,
take
Steve
your
don't-
rear end and hand it to you.
Steve don't talk a lot. So what he was doing when he was standing out there, instead of saying anything when they go the wrong way, he was standing by the sign. He just pointed at the sign. Like this right here, he point and do this. Or he didn't really say anything, and they were like, "Oh, okay." And then they turned around.
Well, when you're like 6'4", 6'5", and you look like you don't want to be messed with.
Well, and you got to throw in, you're talking about sign stuff. I don't know if you've hit on it much, but Derek was the savior of the last the last 2 days. So we definitely cannot forget him. I know he didn't, but just
he's our Bald State trooper buddy. You know,
he was huge.
the only
Yeah.
problem I
He's a hu-
heard about him back there on the dock, though, is that some people, while they were backing up because of the gleam off of his forehead, it was causing some logistical problems.
I'm gonna let him beat you up for that.
I know, Derek, if you're watching this, we appreciate you, buddy.
Hey,
We do.
don't make me release the video of the prank he pulled on you later that night. Don't make me release that.
I forgot about that.
You talking about
yeah.
the electric jack?
No,
No,
not
I'm
the
talking about
electric
at the
jack.
restaurant.
Yeah, you missed it, Jake, because you bowed out, you bum.
Yeah.
And
The
so
rest-
he
I can
doesn't
only
deserve
take so
you to
much
hear
of
the
you.
joke.
Well, I
So-
loved our photo at the end of the night when we were all literally about to collapse at Chili's. Ryan on the very front. Look, never crack a smile. I'm like, I got family members. When you take pictures, they don't smile. None of them do. I thought, I wonder if we're related somehow because he did not crack a smile. He's great though. He's great to work with. But I was just like, check out Ryan.
He's serious.
He is serious. Yeah.
He is, but I like it because he'll say stuff like somebody. So what the joke was is Derek had got the waitress to put a high chair in my seat while I was
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, that
bathroom.
was great. Yeah.
And of course, with Ryan
Did you
found out
enjoy
he
That worked out for you?
it was a little too narrow in the butt department. It
Uh-huh.
was high enough, but it was too narrow.
Yeah, but then you gave it to Rainer.
Yeah, give it to Rainier. Yeah,
Rainier, excuse me,
yeah,
Rainier.
he's always helped us out quite a bit. He was part of our Next Gen program a couple years ago, and then
Yeah.
he's just helped us the last 2 years as part of our staff. And so we have a couple of them that we do stuff like that with to keep these young men and women involved. And I've said it before, but he's now into commercial beekeeping, helping a commercial outfit out, and really getting things going for him. So we're already seeing the fruit of all this Next Gen program. There's a lot of them that are going out there and doing a lot. And I just want to say some quick thank yous. There he is, Reindeers Bees. You can he's got a YouTube channel. You can follow him there. He's up in he lives in Maine, but with his commercial job, he's in Georgia to Maine, depending on the time of the year. So
Nice.
I want to say a big thank you to Flower Street Farm Bees. Appreciate you helping our Next Gen program and just being one of our longtime followers. Appreciate you very much. And also want to say a big thank you to any of the other ones that I've missed. So Steve Amos mentioned that Derek had handcuffs and a taser. He has more than just a taser.
Yeah, he does.
And so Derek's a super nice state trooper. If you got pulled over by him, you might have a chance. Unless you're like some of the idiots that try to get in. That we had a few of them that we had to escort away. So we don't really want to we don't make a scene at the expo. Most of the stuff, the bad stuff that happens, you guys never know about it, and you're not supposed to know about it. You're there to have a good time, to enjoy it. But when we're dealing with a cantankerous vendor who we won't be coming back next year, or if we're dealing with some individuals who are trying to patent infringe other companies. Jake, you've got somebody on your mind right now.
No.
It's getting redder by the second.
Almost
I don't know what
matches
you're
my
talking
jersey.
about.
Yeah, you can't say it, Jake. You can't say it. We got kids watching this. And we have companies that are very sensitive, probably eventually watching this. It gets back around quick. That's one thing I've learned is things get around fast on the internet, and sometimes I just don't care. But
Really?
right now I do.
I don't know that.
So the electric pallet jacks were helpful. What was one of the funnier things that happened to you guys this year or in the previous year that you'd like to share with us?
I have one.
Mhm.
When I pulled a prank on me and Jake. Jake was involved in it. Natalie, remember that? I told you about that.
She got mad about that. I think
Yeah,
I
she
do
was
apologize. If she's watching, I want to apologize.
Me and her cleared the air. She's good, but
All right.
yeah, it was Chris and Dawn come up and says, "We're gonna kill you." But Chris was involved in it. Chris said they were gonna kill me.
I was involved in this?
No, Natalie's dad.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh.
that Chris.
I was saying, I don't know
if
anything
you
about
get
this.
stuff like Cayman, you don't have to worry about these issues.
Yeah.
Of course, you have other issues you'll have to face.
Yeah. But it was hilarious because we convinced her that she was been penciled in to sit in on the commercial talk.
Yeah, well, the speakers, yeah.
But she looked at her dad, and I looked at Jake, winked. He's like, "Oh yeah, right." And then she looked at Jake, and I looked at her dad, and I winked. He's like, "Oh yeah." So I was improv, and we flowed with it. And then we walked away, and she was convinced. And then later on that night, Chris and they were in the car going somewhere, and she said, "Mom, you believe Cayman penciled me in? I don't know anything about commercial." Chris was like, "Oh no." He said, "I better squash this." And he said she was very upset that night.
Man, I didn't know anything about this, and I'm going to one that's going to take the fall whenever she decides to lay.
It was your idea.
It was not my idea.
Well, we watched you give her a hard time, so we thought we'd just kind of help you out because you didn't get to see her a whole lot. So
that is true. I didn't get to see her or really anybody a whole lot, but I did see an interview that she did with, I believe it was Fred Dunn, and in his video, and it's just really. I hope she doesn't get embarrassed by this, but it's been really neat to see her go from I believe she was 11 or just fixing to turn 12. Yeah, fixing to turn 12 maybe at her first one or whatever it was. And now she's grown up into a fine young lady.
Oh yeah, she's really good, yeah.
And very well spoken, and has obviously done a lot and has a lot more to do. So very, very cool to see her continue to be a wonderful personality, very intelligent, and thankfully not as ugly as Randy McCaffrey. There's plenty of guys like him on the radio.
He's handsome in his own right. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, if a grill is handsome, then sure. Randy actually sent me a video today. I love it. He sent me a clip, and when he got up to do his lecture, I didn't know this until he just sent it to me. He's like, look who's getting the attention now, and oh, he's here.
There he is.
And he gets on stage. He's like, "Hello and welcome to the 628 Dirt Rooster channel on my stage." And like it was his show. I love it. Randy's been with us every single year, and their booth this year they always have one of the better booths.
It was awesome,
but this year was the best yet, of course. And now Randy had nothing to do with that. He may have moved some stuff around, but that was all Elizabeth. We all knew it.
Yeah, Miss Elizabeth, they crushed it. Though they definitely had one of the better looking. It just had that home vibe to it, that boutique vibe, and it really was nice.
So we just had a question, Chris. That was about what was that last question?
You're good. Hold on. Here it was.
When will the videos be available? So they'll be available by the end of February. They may be a little bit before that. That's the plan, but we're going to say the end of February. Our guys that do our recording are editing those and getting them prepared, but it's a ton of hours, and they've got to splice all of the PowerPoints into that. And so half of their work is Frederick Dunn's presentations and David, which both of those guys have like 90 slides in an hour. How they manage that, I have no clue, but they're special.
But I missed the spider thing that happened to Fred. I heard about it, and it's got to be hilarious. So I hope it's on video. Because since everything was recorded, it should be on video. Whenever I guess he said spider, everybody jumped up, clapped out of their seat, something like that.
Did they really? So Philip Morris, he's saying that down there, and Philip made a lot of new shelves for our honey show. Philip, you're still supposed to send me the bill for all those materials, so get that to me. But there's just a lot of people that do many things to make this expo happen. It is absolutely just insane for us to watch it go from an empty room to filling up, and then all the people and all the stuff that happens in a short time. In a very short time. It doesn't really make any sense, but it just shows you the power of that many like-minded people working together. And I guess it really is the most similar thing I can relate to it is just watching a colony of bees right before the honey flow starts, and then seeing them over about a 2-month or so period fill up honey supers, and all of a sudden it's just like, how did this happen? And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just a big colony. I mean, it's that's all it is. We're just the worker bees, and then whenever we die, we got the bees that drag us out and throw us off the dock, and then they bring in more. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we're just,
Your wings aren't tattered yet, Jeremy. You got a couple
I-
more years in you.
I keep conditioning them a little bit. So
That's right. So will the 2024 videos still be posted after the 2025 videos released? Oh yeah. So the 2024 videos will still be up there. So you'll be, and we don't plan those to go away. We also have these things downloaded on a hard drive, so they're backed up. If something crazy was to happen to the website, we can deal with that as well. But I'll be actually putting out an instructional video on how to do these videos, get them and have all that. The main problem is while we do really want you all to get the videos, a lot of people don't use their code and enter in. They'll procrastinate. We can't be helping people 12 months later just now start opening up their videos. So when we send this out, I'm going to do a YouTube video. I'm going to put it on Facebook. I'm going to send an email out to everybody who attended, and we're going to send you your personal code, and you got to create a login and save that information. Please, by all things holy, save that information, write it down in 4 different places, put it on your son's forehead, whatever you got to do so you don't lose it, because Laurel spends so much of her time trying to fix that, because people lose that information. And we want you to watch the videos, but we can't be, we have people from last year, that have issues, and we hate that, but so watch out for that. We'll have those available in February. They're going to be awesome. Some great lectures this year. The candle making one was a hit. I only got to sneak my head into a few of the sessions, but Randy Oliver killed it. And there was my favorite one, the only one I got to actually stay in for the entire time, besides my own presentation, which I actually had a voice to get through my own presentation this year. Notice how I did it on Thursday. But I got to do the MC work for the mite resistance, breeding for mite resistance Q&A panel with Randy Oliver. Of course, he has his line of, was it Gold West Queens or something like that? And then we have that in the Caribbean. Yeah, Jeremy, get right on that. Jake, work out those logistics. Yeah, let's next year. Woo. Then we had Corey Stevens.
our wives would definitely go if we went to the Caribbean. You can bet on that.
Yeah, we actually might be able to get the women folk excited.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
So the problem of it is I'm not sure they let us do any bee stuff while we were down there. But
they'd organize it to where we would be doing bee stuff while they were being left alone. That's exactly what would happen. So.
Well, see, I don't know what that is. Laurel's the one cracking the whip over here, making me do all this bee stuff. So I don't know what you're talking about, but
Okay.
but it's different. Your wife runs a nail salon, Jeremy, and so she's telling you to do nail salon stuff. Imagine if she was into bees, you'd be out in the bee yard sweating your end off every day.
Yeah. She likes me when I'm out there because she don't have to deal with me.
Yeah.
The only time she needs me is when something breaks out there. She's like, I need you to do this, fix this, and that. I'm like, okay. So anyway,
Laurel just gave me the look that you're pushing the buttons. So hi, Laurel. Yeah, she's like, hi guys, and then she looks at me. So where were we right before we went Caribbean on that?
Yeah, we all squirreled on that. I don't know. So
yeah. Well, whatever it was, it probably was important. Oh, it was the videos.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll be coming out in February. But that mite resistant panel was really a lot of fun with Richard Coy with the Russian bee breeding program. Of course, Dr. Frank Rinkovich. I never say his last name right. I apologize, Frank. With the USDA mite resistant program. And all these guys were talking and giving some really good insights to how they're breeding for better bees and just realistic expectations. The problem with beekeeping is extremely local, and all of them agree. If you're in an area that has a lot of beekeepers that are not breeding for the same things, you're just not going to have very good success long term because they're going to water down your genetics. There are some people who are very isolated that can have better success. or even maybe some complete success. But that's really what we want to have is these, especially newer beekeepers, have realistic expectations, because there are people on YouTube and social media who, since I got into bees, have been like, just let bees be bees, stick them in a box and everything's just going to work out for you, and they're going to live and they're going to make you honey. And now there's a flow hive. Throw that on there and just basically open it up whenever you're ready and just fill a jar. And boy, it's easy, $20 a pound. Next thing you know, we're going to have a pick your own honey and people coming out there and just doing that too. What could go wrong?
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Yeah. We would finally make the news.
It might. Yeah. Might.
So we talked about some of the funny things that happened. Natalie's mad with me. Thanks, guys, for doing that.
You're
No,
welcome.
we smoothed it over. Everything's good. Her and I made up, and I apologized and told her it was just us having fun. I said, Cayman's kind of set the standard that we have to have fun and joke around with people. And I said, it just kind of fell in our lap to joke around with you.
So here's a comment right here. I vote for a tow motor. I had to load 6,000 glass jars by hand. Well, Dave, that discount that you got.
I told him I would help him.
Yeah. Well, I know, but Dave likes to pick on stuff, and we love Dave to death, but he sure does like to post. And a lot of it's really cool stuff, but he's making us jealous. And now, shoes on the other foot. Ha, Dave, we got you. All jokes aside, that was not intentional. We had a forklift last year for this. We had a kind of a little bit of do you guys want to elaborate on this?
Nope.
Nope.
No. It's probably better we don't.
Better not.
No.
We lost our privileges. We lost our privileges primarily because of Jake Osborne.
Wow, Jake, you took.
I muted him. He's gone. His
Yeah,
talking
mute
privileges
him.
are over.
What's he talking about? He's going to throw me under the bus like that?
My channel. This is my channel. All right, so we're not going to say any more, but we ticked off the wrong person. Let's just put it that way. I've already am in the process if we are back at Louisville, a forklift will be had. It will be had. We've always built our trade show to have a forklift to load attendees and commercial beekeepers. It happened last minute, right before the show. We weren't expecting it, and we apologize, but there was nothing that we could do. And so we will make sure that doesn't happen again. And even if we have to get Jake out there loading them one by one, you'll have wonderful service. But no, we'll have a forklift. Sorry about that. And Dave, all jokes aside, we do really appreciate you buying a lot of stuff at the conference. Jake threw you under the bus and hit the gas
all the time. It's nonstop.
He threw it reverse. What are you talking about hitting the gas? He hit the gas reverse.
David McDade. Oh, so David and his
is.
brother Zach really help us out a lot at the show too.
Yes.
They've helped us out a number of years, and Zach is really just super valuable. David, if he could just shut up, he would be the perfect help. But he's worse than I am, and he's a sorghum lover, and he says honey is a poor man's sweetener. So I just wanted to let you guys know what type of intelligence this man has. He gets that poor man's honey and then thinks it's better than the real stuff.
Jake waited until he had to laugh.
Yeah.
It's
It's a tough crowd over here.
Yeah. Well, Jake, you're well loved in the Kentucky region, and for good reason. But you're also younger than most of the guys, so you just naturally get picked on. It's easy to pick on you when you're further from arm's length as well.
Sorghum is better.
Who lets this guy into a bee conference? That's what I'd like to know.
Get him out of here.
We just feel, yeah. So we have a good group of guys, and obviously they're quite diverse too. We don't discriminate against people who aren't just fully sold on honey. We'll even get some of those sorghum munchers into the expo.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, Cayman, there's a bunch of different questions. We won't pull them all up. There's a bunch of questions about putting videos on CD, downloading them, Bee Club stuff. All of that stuff we'll address all of that coming up. So all those answers will be addressed in a video, on posts. So we're not ignoring all you guys. We'll definitely be real detailed and all that. So and
Sure.
can I tell them what we're going to send out soon, just so that everybody's aware of what's coming?
Yeah, perfect.
So we'll be emailing everybody out a survey. All attendees will receive a survey. We hear lots of feedback from everybody, and that's great, but we want to hear the people who were there specifically. So our team came up with a survey for both vendors and attendees separately. And we'll definitely be sending that out here real soon. So just watch your email. We'll make a post in the group, all that fun stuff. But we obviously appreciate you guys all coming, and every year we want to do better by our team and by you guys. So please, be thoughtful with your feedback. So thank you guys in advance. So
yeah, thank you, and a lot of the little stuff we haven't been able to do so well because Laura and I are trying to do, YouTube and various stuff, and also I am shrinking down my speaking engagements and stuff like that, but we just have way too much going on. So Chris coming on board is going to be able to really give this conference what it deserves, this exposition. And so it'll be better communication for you guys, more opportunities for everybody, and just better offerings all the way around. And so I'm really excited to be able to do that. And thanks for being patient with us as we've grown. We've just learning through stuff and also dealing with stuff. We have made it through the weeds, and we're on to some brighter days, hopefully. So if Laurel doesn't take me out, and some of my staff are over promising.
Did you ever get an exact figure on the attendance?
Yeah. Just shy of 3,000. I mean, so it was like, I posted in the Facebook group. It was like 2,980 something. And then we had, of course, 70 honey judges. We had over 500 people working in the trade show, the vendors. And then we, of course, had our team and the VIPs as well. So easily 3,600 plus people there. And most of the people who are working the vendor booths, most of the people who are honey show judges, they're all beekeepers too. So, it's safe to say that there was 3,500 plus beekeepers there. There was a few weirdos like Dave and McDade who thinks sorghum's better, but all jokes aside, Dave is actually getting 3 nukes from me this year, and we've got him into bees now. So he's fixing to be educated real quick.
Yeah.
And learn the error of his ways.
He'll figure it out one day.
Yeah. Well,
that's excellent though. That number, it really is. That's really something.
Well, thanks Jake and Jeremy and Chris. I don't know how we'd be able to do it without you guys. It's a lot of responsibility. Because this expo is so huge, it takes many people who are coordinating different arenas, and I won't see you guys for half the day, and there's just been a ton of stuff happen in your sector we don't even know about. A lot of these stories I don't find out till afterwards. Like, we won't name who did it, but I'm sure there's some people in the crowd who know how this happened. And I heard somebody got some Jersey mics and they ran through the parking lot on one of the days and got cameraed by the KEC staff, and it was brought to our attention that the Jersey Mike's guys ran through the system and all that. And so
I will note that as in this on a semi-serious topic, they do have cameras on every single entrance. So if you do run them and there's somebody at the gates, they have all your information. So just as a friendly heads up for anybody thinking they'll just skip the gate, not that any of our awesome attendees would do that, but we might have had a couple vendors do that, and so
Jersey Mike's definitely did.
And Jersey Mike.
like a bat out of where. I mean, they were like he was like NASCAR coming through there, but he's probably working for like Grubhub or something like that, or who knows, whatever. He's looking to make him some money that day. So we have different issues that get brought up from time to time. But our team handles it really well, and a lot of the stuff I don't even know about until then. Jed says, can't say I didn't think about it. You know, the nice thing is because we're starting to learn this facility, if we stay here, we don't have to, because every place is different. And one of the rare things about the Kentucky Expo Center, besides that the parking is massive, a lot of the places, they are not like that. We've gone to a lot of facilities. It's downtown, no protection from homeless people being right outside the doors. There's parking garages. There's nowhere to put your trailers. There's nowhere for the vendors to be able to do much. And it's definitely a lot of them are union, and you cannot bring your own freight. Like we pretty much bring in almost everything ourselves. You know, some of the vendors do it themselves. You know, Hilco's got his own small little army, like 26 people, and they're telling John Hill to get out of the way, most of them, because he's kind of like me. He may be in charge, but that doesn't mean he always knows what's best. Get out of the way, John. Get out of the way.
That's kind of what we were doing.
Yeah, it's kind of what you guys were doing. You just
like you was telling me, I was like, Cayman, we got it.
We got it.
Okay. And then when you disappeared, everything was running smooth. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you the vote of confidence, and I got treated like Steve Urkel out of Family Matters. Steve, go home, go home, go home.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of people helping out, but a lot of these conferences, they won't let you do that. I mean, and it's expensive. It's like $1.50 a pound. So you think of all the tonnage. I mean, we're talking millions of pounds of stuff, and we it would totally reshape our conference in such a way that it'd be so expensive for people to attend. It would probably be like a 400 or 500 person conference if we did that.
Yeah.
And of course the vendors wouldn't be able to offer deals like they do because they weren't selling enough. It really works out quite well. We have a very unique conference. There's a lot of conferences out there, but very few of them run like we do. And that we move a lot of product with our expo. There are some others like that, but the amount of mass that we move is unique. And the Kentucky Expo Center, they're great to work with. We really like the people there at the KEC, and would prefer to keep working with them just because we now know what we have to do to make them happy. They know what we need. The communication is really good.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge advantage.
They got great people. The electricians that I met, Jessica, obviously. I think Sherry was her assistant's name. I think Sherry. If it's wrong for listening, I'm sorry. But they were all really, really good. Just so good to work with. Really nice. And even when we asked them to move the tables for the 4th time, they still did it. You know what I mean? Yep. So it was really cool. So.
Yeah, and I think next year, I think a big thing that we'll really hit on is, a lot of our vendors and attendees have favorite places to eat around the area. So we really want to lean into that beyond just, poor Cracker Barrel down the road.
Got Derby City Pizza.
Derby City Pizza. That was the low-key great pizza.
Yeah, and then you could go to, what was that place, Jake?
Frank's Deli.
They got the best local honey in the area.
That's right, they do.
They got some of the best local honey you can find over there.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had to switch. There was some feedback, and I think it may have been on my end. Is that better?
Better.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and going back to those semis, if people could have actually seen the amount of inventory we were bringing in that place, and the way Jake had everything lined up nice in the the areas, and then once we started doing it, I mean, there's a lot of people involved. It wasn't just a couple; it was a whole team effort. It was amazing the amount. And you said 40 semis. I swear it felt like 70 semis. But we were moving some serious tonnage.
Yeah. I had somebody actually reach out to me on Sunday. They're like, "Hey, I'm here. Can we go ahead and unload?" I'm like, "I'm not even there yet. We're not going to do it until Monday." So,
yeah.
So this whole spider thing with Fred has kind of gotten out of control a little bit, which he kind of, I think, maybe brought it onto himself. But you want to talk about something getting out of control. What was with all those darn Cayman Reynolds stickers everywhere? And you know, that whole big giant bee suit skeleton thing with my face on it.
Well, what you don't know is that Yappy went around and sprayed your staff with that Came and Be Gone, which is why we rarely seen you much, because every time we'd see you, always went a different way. And I was like, Yappy, it actually might work. So,
yeah, so it he did have some Came and Be Gone, which I thought that
Came and Be Gone,
that's kind of weird. You know, you come to my conference and then have a Came and Be Gone, but he's a different type. I ain't figured him out yet, but
he's a funny guy though.
Yeah, he was there with the Highs for Heroes booth, and a lot of people had fun with that. How about a Bee Expo Carnival cruise? I don't think that's probably going to happen. So, Steve Amos, Jed, you got a question? How much does that 70-gallon clarifier weigh? Probably the heaviest thing he grabbed a hold of in a while. So Jed makes that commercial clarifier. I know Paul Landsberg has a 70-gallon one, and I was there when Jed was making it before he sent it to him when I was up in Wisconsin. That thing was heavy. I mean, by the time that thing gets honey in it and water around, you know, to warm it up, I mean, I don't even think World's Strongest Man could pick that sucker up. It's quite heavy.
It's nice though. It's really nice.
Yeah, Jed makes good stuff. We have a lot of weighs about 400.
Oh, wow.
400 pounds. I mean, well, if there's a bomb that goes off, hop in that sucker. That's the place to be.
Yeah.
So, Chris, we have any good questions? Let's start getting to some questions and just kind of see if we can just rattle through some of these. Here's something I just found. Besides a honey swap, could you do a mead swap as well? You know, we have to talk to the Expo Center. Whenever you start talking alcohol, it gets a lot trickier with a lot of those things. By the way, that's honey that Jeremy's hitting, just to clarify. That was interesting timing, Jeremy. I said alcohol, he just goes back with the honey. So
meat here.
Helps my voice.
So we have to a lot of those things we have to look through. It's a possibility. That's something that if it happened, probably I would ask someone with the honey judges to spearhead that. The honey swap is, and thanks to Honeybee Tennessee, I need to say that we swapped tons of honey, so many cool different flavors. I got some from Alaska, several other cool places, and that Alaska honey was maybe that, and some of the Canadian honey was quite different than stuff that I'm used to having. It was really neat. I'm a little bit of a bigger fan of the Alaskan, but I think it's more of a mental thing, USA, over the maple leaves. So
for sure.
But we can definitely look into that. And again, this is where with Chris on board, we have opportunities now to do more. And now that our staff, you know, guys, really our coordinators like Jake and Jeremy, and more of our guys are taking on more responsibility. We're able to offer a lot more and take on a lot more, because this has just gotten way beyond me and Laurel on what it takes to get done. So we had a company that was doing that in the past. They weren't able to make it. Brian, that's something that we plan to have this next year. I think we're just going to get one for ourselves and have a photo machine so that folks can, you know, click it and it gives you a few seconds to take your pictures in front of that's the step and repeat right there. And I want to say thank you to all the companies that sponsor the step and repeat, and Hilco for doing the honey show one. Everyone that believes Cayman will speak less and have less bees in 2025, raise your hand. You think so, Chris?
Yeah, because when they email me, I'm just gonna decline it, and you're never even gonna know they asked. You're gonna be like, this place asked me to talk, and this place, and be like, I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah. Oops. I actually am going to do better. So I just actually talked to another guy that helped me at the conference, Talon Redding. He went up with me to Wisconsin also this year, and I'm going to be 1099ing him. He's going to be doing his appraisal work and beekeeping on the side. That's exciting news for me. But anyone who wants to see more videos, this is super exciting, because Chris will be helping with the bees from time to time, but there's a lot of work that's non-bee related he'll be doing. And Talon's 15 minutes from me. So he's going to be helping me, do a lot of the grunt work. I'm going to start him out on scraping, frames and stuff like that, to see what he's really made out of. And if he can survive that, we'll go into some other tedious, excruciating form of menial labor.
I got a couple extra spare toothbrushes up here if you really want to.
Yeah, that's
get that propolis off.
So Clay brings up a fine point. Natalie says she doesn't even like honey, which that's one of the things that I've tried to be her mentor and teach her things. This is a failing on my part. Please, everyone, accept my deepest apologies. It's something, even if you think that, you don't say in this industry. You don't be like David McDade. Don't say sorghum's better. Don't say that you don't like honey. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of people into bees. Oh, Laurel's here. So
no, she's raising her hand.
Oh, she's raising her. Funny.
I think that was in response to Cayman having less talks and less bees.
Yes.
Yeah, less bees, less talks. It's going to happen. I don't think anyone's going to give me a choice. But anyways, there's actually several people that I know that really don't like the honey, but they just love fooling with the bees, and they like making bees and splitting bees. I love honey, especially if you throw some cinnamon and butter with it. Yeah, you hurt yourself pretty quick. And my mom makes some honey bread, and it is, Chris, you've had that. It's the same stuff Laurel makes.
I would say Laurel makes some.
Oh, it's wonderful. And
well, can we put an order in now when we come to our wax dipping party? We start wax dipping boxes because I'm gonna be there. I'd like to try it.
Yeah.
I'm just coming for the bread. I don't need to wax dip anything. I'm just coming for the bread. It's that good.
Yeah, I'll make sure that your guys' desires are passed on to Laurel, because I won't ask. She won't do it for me probably because I'm in the doghouse. Cosman says, we love the location. The fact that we could walk from the hotel to the expo is great, and the drive for us wasn't that bad. We came from Ontario. And what I loved is we had several people that walked, but one of the things I found interesting about all the people that I talked to that walked, they were from Canada, like Minnesota, Michigan, and they were all like, wow, what great weather this is. So, it's all about perspective. Natalie says, I should have said that. Natalie.
Sorry again, Natalie.
You'll learn, Natalie.
I say that like every day. So, if you only have to say that every once in a while, you're doing good. I knew I shouldn't have said that like every 2 hours.
I wonder if she heard us talking about the story, the little trick that we pranked.
Yeah, that little prank you play on her. I wasn't part of that, Natalie. I don't deserve to be picked on.
It was Cayman's idea.
Yeah, it really was. I mean,
see, Jeremy, she's gonna get us back next year. You know that, right?
I know she is.
It's gonna be 10 times worse.
It's all fun.
So John Hill does have his CDL now.
Yeah,
he does.
He does.
Yeah.
So they were hauling their own freight because they brought in 10 semi loads, and Hilco was really kicking some rear end, getting it all in there in time because they had a lot of product to sort and get organized. But John does pretty good. He's as someone who drove a semi for 6 years, I want to give a little bit of advice. Yeah, CDL crazy driver's license.
Yeah,
not wrong. So John's great at going forward in a semi. I'd say he's as good as anybody at going forward. I've got to talk to him a little bit on backing up. It's all right. The Expo Center actually has some pretty tough backing in some spots. It's really tough, especially if you have a long-nosed Pete or a Kenworth.
It's tight back there.
Yeah, it's tight. But John, I've got some tips for you, free of charge. Just need a free this or that. I mean, we'll talk, John.
I have to give John some credit. Have commitment. He drove in on either Tuesday or Wednesday. He got there like
Tuesday.
4 a.m. and that's from him driving the previous day. He left. He dropped his truck, drove back to Ilco, which is probably 4, 5, at least 6 hours. Then he drove back with another load that night. I mean, John, and again, yeah, sure, he owns the company, all that stuff, but like, for anyone who doesn't know, John isn't just ordering around his 26 other people at the company that was there. I mean, he's putting the hours in. I will give him credit for that because that's not something that everybody sees. So that was
I
crazy.
appreciate you saying that. That's one of the reasons Hillco has grown like they have is leads by example. And John understands what his employees are going through because he's done it. He understands what beekeepers want because he listens and he's done some of it. And then I tell him the rest. And that's not very nice. But no, John is great. That sounds like a time log violation. Jed, stick to welding. Let us truck drivers.
Yeah, David McDade. I call my
Sorghum instead of honey.
I bet you do.
I'll bet you do too. Backwards part of Tennessee that you're from. I'm sure the women are okay with about anything. Oh man, some digs from one team member to the other. This is getting interesting. Very good. So someone just said that the location was great, but they went to Derby City Pizza, and the pizza was awesome. We went to Derby City Pizza with the team to try it out. That is some of the best pizza I've ever had.
It was good. And that you get the big, most places, small pizzas, they had them big, large pizzas.
Yeah,
like
those breadsticks, those garlic breadsticks they brought out.
Yes,
that I could die eating those. I think that they were that good.
Yeah, if anyone's wondering, around the Expo Center, there's a pizza place, Derby City. It's basically at like 9 o'clock. If you're thinking of the Expo Center as a clock, it's kind of 9 o'clock just outside. It's real good. So
Did I get a pick on John Hill any? Well, I took all of the youth to his booth because he prepped a bunch of smoker boxes for them, and actually he autographed them, which wasn't part of my plan. I was hoping these things would have value long term, but then John defaced them with his signature. So I did pick on John quite a bit, but he had a pretty good laugh at me because in order to talk to all the kids, and we filled up a huge area with him, thankfully his booth was so big, I had to stand on 2 stacks of 5-gallon buckets of his turbo feed, his syrup. And so I could be above everybody and everyone could hear me. It felt like almost Zacchaeus from the Bible. I had to get up so everyone could see.
Good photo op.
Yep. So this is Hank. Hi, Hank's been with us ever since our first conference. He helps out with APMA. Some would say he's a little bit bigger than some guys like me. Super nice and helpful. He helped manage making sure the speakers were in the right place, and also there was someone to introduce them and helped with the flow of that and several other logistics, and has always helped us out from year to year and given us a lot of good expo advice because Hank actually works with expositions and puts them on. So really appreciate you, Hank. But he talks real low and I can't really get it, but he's intimidating. Let's just put it like that. And we love you, Hank. We appreciate you. One of the reasons I love these guys, if you notice, I have a lot of guys that are really big. And so that,
well, some of us are just tall,
Well, some of you guys are just huge.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying some of us are just tall.
So it's nice when those guys show up at the door trying to force their way in, and you guys are like, it ain't happening today. And they're like, no, I guess it's not. So, all right, questions. Cayman, how will you find a way to get the younger children to attend the expo, at least enter the vendor area if you're worried that they will disturb the presentations? So I'm not saying necessarily that we're going to allow 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds in yet. Again, the reason we did it like that is not because we don't like children. In fact, that's a high priority for us, but we have to think of the logistics here. We did pull this expo off better than we've ever have before, but it wasn't like we were, skirting it easily at the same time. Like it was, if Jake and Jeremy and Chris or I, and then a few of the other guys wouldn't have been there, you take out 2 or 3 of these guys, it would have been ugly. So we're still ironing this out, and it's grown at such a rapid rate. There's always been more than enough to handle. The thought of having the possibility of 800 to 1,500 young people coming with. That the problem that we have is we don't have a lot of youth, and we already have to deal with. It's typically not from the Next Gen program, but it's some of the other young people that come in, and these parents are just letting their kid run. And we're actually having to address this right now with a couple individuals because they're causing logistical problems for us. And it's not like it's a little thing or two. It's liability. They're interrupting things they shouldn't be interrupting. And this is with the way that we already have it. So we are heavily considering this with the FFA. What we would like to be able to do is meet them in person there or 4-H, and then screen them similar to what we do with the Next Gen program. We're not interested in bringing in a ton of school children who are just going to run all over the place and create a scene. You guys are paying good money to enjoy a good environment. We've always had a great environment, good people, good conversations, presentations that I think that have gone really well. So we were going to not do anything to upset that, but we're also considering what we can do about maybe being a little bit more lenient as well. It's there's a lot of difficult things, and we want to just be able to give everyone everything that we want with the snap of our finger, just like the workshops. A lot of people were very disappointed about that, and we do feel that because we want to go to them as well. But we can't. We got to work, and that's fine. But we are working, and just Rome wasn't built in a day, and we appreciate everyone's patience. We will definitely do the best thing we can. Mark says that he loved the huge bee suit. It was a great way to help people find your booth and remember your booth. That was Foxhound Bee Supply. That was really cool. I joke because most of the bee suits from all the companies come from Pakistan. There's a few exceptions to that. But the Pakistanis especially, and this is one of the reasons why some people might not like this, but there's actually a conference going on right now, and I've had some of the vendors say, man, we're competing with a lot of Chinese companies and Pakistani companies. I turned down almost 50 companies this year, and some of the fellows right here had to escort these fellows off the premises because they're trying to cut all of our good quality vendors' throats. And some of these guys are literally distributing to these companies already. Some of the companies there are selling their product, but the difference is if it goes into Hilco or Foxhound or the Bee Supply or Man Lake, we can get those guys back. If they were to shaft 1,000 of you with terrible bee suits, we can do something about that here. We can't do anything to anyone in Pakistan or China. They take your money, and most of them, we never hear from them again. So we're trying to do it to protect the vendors from getting their throats slashed, because these guys will come in and slash their own distributors, which really hurts our trade show. But it also hurts, it allows you to maybe be vulnerable to getting a bad product and never being able to get it fixed. If Man Lake does something bad, or any company, Hilco, we can always tell them, toodaloo, do a YouTube video, and we would prefer not to do that, and none of these guys do that to us, but we can do something with American stuff. So we have to deal with these guys. But getting back to the tall skeleton dealio, the 15-foot tall bee suit or whatever it was, is ITs, because if you talk to a lot of these companies like I do, one of the number one problems they have is getting good bee suits from these companies, because they tell the guys overseas to do it a certain way, and then they send them something else, and it's very frustrating. And so I joked and said they told them to make a Cayman-sized bee suit at 5'6", and they made a 15'6" bee suit. And buy American. Jed, is that a plug for Thorn? I think that was a shameless plug.
It
Thorn.
is.
Yeah, that was cool.
We're still waiting on several products. Jed's just real slow. Those Wisconsin people aren't in a hurry. I suppose.
Give them a break.
Give them a break.
He's taking a break right now.
Yeah, he's fixing to. He just proposed. He's got other things on his mind right now.
You see the comps
here? Yeah, I hear. He came and didn't see this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thought.
It really is.
And they're all eating sarcum.
Yeah.
That is the most logistical nightmare. That's like, I'm just gonna give up. Sorry, guys, the Bee Expo is canceled until further notice.
Yeah.
6 little McDates. Yeah, that makes sense now, Hank. That the tall bee suit would be about for you. Jed eats too much cheese. Well, I stayed at his place a couple of days this year while I was up there in Wisconsin. Jed was very nice to let me stay there. But seriously, I checked your refrigerator, Jed. That's literally all you had to eat was cheese. And I told his fiance, Hannah, I said, Hannah, please, this guy is one bad snowstorm away from not being able to get out and starving to death. Please. I mean, he's got expired soap. I mean, look, it's crumbling. It's not even soap anymore. I don't even know how you get that. It says Kmart on it. It's so
Oh
old.
my gosh, Kmart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in there. I'm just like, there's nothing. Of course, I'm married, been married for a while. Laurel is awesome. She takes good care of me. I don't appreciate her enough. Jed, you need Hannah real bad. And I'm finally glad to see that I know that you're going to be able to survive, because I've been concerned about that.
She done a really good job in his booth. She was really outgoing. Very, I mean, like she'd obviously been paying attention because she knew a lot of the products very well. So yeah,
and it's nice not to have to look at Jed the whole time too.
Amen. Hey, I want to bring it back to the conference. So I was really impressed. And of course, very few of us ever got to walk around every booth. So I will just say the booths I did get to walk around to, I was impressed. And again, this isn't a exclusive shout out. This is just the booths I happen to be in. You know, so you talked about Apis Tactical. They're going to have a suit. We were in Dayton's booth. They now have a like overall bibs suit. Now, obviously, it doesn't have like a jacket with it, but it's like overalls. And they were saying that there were a lot of people talking about that. The booth you're talking about with the skeleton foxhound and the sting stopper. I don't know if they directly call it that anymore, but whatever, foxhound. He was talking a lot about how they were trying to customize suits, and the crotch area for men and women is different, and the length and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, the point being is that there are companies listening to what beekeepers want and need. So the innovation is there. You know, technically Beekeeping was there and their new smoke gun.
That was
they're
neat.
really trying to do. So again, I'm sure I'm discounting lots of people who were there with innovations, of course, but you know, there was a lot of great things there. So
there was a lot of cool things there. A lot of things I really wanted to see I didn't get to. There was some cool 3D printed stuff. It was an aperture apiary that had some really cool educational stuff.
Yep.
You know, the problem that we've had in the past is we'll have someone create something cool, but since they're not able to get a platform to all of us, that a lot of times they get discouraged or they just don't keep it up because it just takes too long for them to get to a point that's sustainable for their small business. And the expo really is for that, is for people to vote with their words and their wallet on what they want to see more of. And these companies are really paying attention. This expo really does shape a lot of the company's decisions throughout the year. And so when people go up to companies and they're asking for a certain valve mounted on a certain suit, or, hey, we'd like to see this with your suit, the companies really enjoy the feedback, because most of the companies are really cool with the feedback. There's a few of them that aren't, but it really does help. And we're seeing a lot of new stuff come out because the ones who are coming out with what the beekeepers want are making money. And the ones who aren't are watching the other guys make money, and they're not. So it's working quite well. I haven't seen that movie, so I don't know what it's like. Either.
I kind of refuse to watch it.
I have to, because it's just, I saw the trailer, and when he throws that honey, and he says, like, who knew honey was flammable? I just like, I can't.
It was a good movie. I mean, you gotta. There's some realistic stuff in it, but it's really the action, the fighting. I mean, you know, that's kind of what it's all about. But
I saw them shoot a bunch of beehives, Jeremy. I mean, talk about tragic. I might cry during that scene.
That was the bad guys. And spoiler alert, when they did that, it was game over.
Well, of course, those the bad guys. Anybody that shoots beehives is a bad guy.
I think it was I think they used it was a fencing outfit. I think is what they used for his bee suit.
Oh no!
It was a fencing suit. Yeah.
Oh,
But-
come on,
But,
guys.
you know, it was over in
Hollywood,
Europe.
spend $20 and watch a YouTube video and post a comment over here. We can help you out. It's not that hard. You got resources.
Well, full disclosure, didn't they want to be a part of the expo last year or something?
They wanted to sponsor possibly something in there. It was I found out about it in December. There wasn't a lot.
It was like right before Christmas. I remember that we were like, "How do we do this?" Like,
It was
Send them a
late.
suit. What we do is we send them a suit that looks legit,
yeah,
and let him spend a week in Cayman's yard, and then he'll get the gist of it.
yeah.
Yeah, now I hide my money in beehives. You have money left over after the Bee Expo? I spent
Yeah,
way
no
more than I was
kidding.
supposed to. Laurel's still finding out some stuff I got back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
they could
doesn't
hire me
include-
as a technical
doesn't include
advisor.
all the
That would be quite fun. I've actually thought of sending them an email about it because it's that egregiously bad. From what I've seen, and now I've learned more. So it is kind of frustrating. But this is again where I think we've got to do better at the targeting the next generation of youth in these programs, and just making this information generally well known, doing everything that we can to get people to understand what beekeepers really do, the value that we offer, not just in honey, but so much more. And the other thing that we've got to do better is we've got to really target this honey fraud that's going on, all this fake honey that's coming into the country. We're all having to deal with it and fight it. So we're working on. I'm not the one spearheading this, but behind the scenes, a part of it whenever they need me to be. And there's work that needs to be done there. And if we could really do something there, that could be really helpful. So
It's going to take an army.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a huge lift to try to stop that. I mean, at the hotel where we ordered for our restaurant, I pick that bottle up and turn it around. I'm just like, okay, it's like Ukraine,
That's what we gotta teach the
Russia. It's
public.
like different. It's like what? And I can name multiple beekeepers around Sevierville and Knoxville, and I mean, there's enough beekeepers in the area that you could you could get together and say, okay, you know what I mean, and then shameless plug, I offer my honey there now, so we're trying to have local honey.
Jeremy's honey has won a blue ribbon at one of our shows for light category. So
Yeah,
it's a top shelf honey.
I would like to give a short shout out. I had a brief meeting with a very young commercial beekeeper. My mind just went blank. Carla
Yeah, Carla
Robertson. Yeah, wonderful young lady. She has a Facebook page called Save American Honey.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to look that up and like it,
yeah,
please
definitely
do that. It just got started, but who knows? It might take off somewhere. Hopefully, it does.
Oh, that girl, she's 19. She's one of the most well-spoken 19-year-old young ladies I've ever met.
She's a hard worker too.
I was surprised she was that young.
I'm surprised she was helping Hilco.
Well, nobody's perfect. Maybe someone's got to tell John what to do, but her dad's a commercial beekeeper and she works with him. And she was with our Next Gen program actually a couple of years ago. And so this again is the type of young ladies and young men that we're wanting to target. She's hardcore. She's trying to target this honey fraud. I think it's great to see young people like her that are really taking upon this stuff that honestly a generation or two previous probably should have already handled this, in my personal opinion. I'm not saying you all, but the commercial industry really needs to stop arguing amongst themselves. And I believe they can easily get this done if they actually focus on it together. What, Jake?
I said, get off Facebook.
Get off Facebook and go, knock on some legislators' doors and some congressmen and women. That honey fraud's hurting them more than it's hurting anybody.
100%.
So
Jason has a question.
You can circle back to that.
How much did the silent auction make for the Next Gen program? So that was over $17,000, just a little over 17 just for the silent auction, and Copper Canyon sponsored or raised through tips like $1,200 as well. Some of the companies also, like Hidden Hollow, a percentage of the jars that people got for the this honey swap that went to the Next Gen program. So they raised almost $100 and they matched it. So that, there's a lot of people working to, and of course there's been several donations tonight. Brian Reese, David Hunter, Flower Street Farm, and many others. So we're looking to next year to see the biggest we've ever seen. Every year it seems to grow by 50% or more, and it's well on its way to do that next year. All right. So there was a question from Jason Crook with Bohemia Bees about the date. Obviously, this year's date wasn't ideal for us as much as anybody. We are pretty dead set against not being backed up against the New Year's, whether that's at Sevierville or whether we can get another date in Louisville. We're still working out all those details, hoping that we'll have that answer for you very soon, because everyone needs to know and plan. So it's not going to be like we're going to announce it 6 months from now. We plan to be able to announce that soon. I would say sometime around the time the videos are released, probably into February, maybe sooner than that. So thanks for being patient. Our goal is to, a lot of people are like, why don't you move it from location to location? That does not work with this conference at all. One, because most of our staff really be helpful if they're within driving distance.
Yeah.
And our staff, really, does a lot. And so finding replacements would be extremely difficult. And even if we could, they wouldn't have the experience. It would take us years to get them to the same. And then, of course, going to a new facility is crazy. And a lot of them, there's a lot of surprises that we've had with this facility. And so parking, semi-docks, ease of access, don't want to be downtown, unions, we hate unions, we hate unions, we hate unions.
No offense, union workers, but we hate unions.
Yeah, we don't hate you guys. We just hate the people that represent you. Oh, we can't say that, Chris. We need to edit that out.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll edit that out. But no, it's primarily like we've got to be able to load this stuff in ourselves. It would cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally, if a union had to bring this in. And a lot of places are like that. Some of the vendors have been at other bee conferences where there was a union, and they spend $20,000 for a booth smaller than our average decent sized booth at the expo.
Yep.
They can't afford to do that. Most of the companies can't even play the game, and the ones that do it, they can't afford to do that, then do deals for you guys. So we have to create an area where they can be successful and offer you guys the awesome pricing. Can we do it at Jeremy Lindsay's house? He has a cool view of the mountains. He does have a cool view of the Smokies, but his little shop's not quite big enough, Jeremy.
No.
Maybe at 50 people in there.
It's big, but it ain't that big.
I mean, the Hillco booth is bigger than your shop.
Yeah, I got 4,200 square foot. I can hold a few in there, but I don't think I can hold.
See, this is why I say Jed needs to be getting busy working on these projects. He's got the honey to-do list now.
Yeah. And came into to piggyback off what you were saying too. It's we're drawing people from the Midwest. We're drawing people from the vast majority of the population in the U.S. is it's like an 8-hour drive from Columbus, Ohio, give or take. Is like the the majority of the country populations there. Obviously, you have big populations in Texas and California and all that stuff, and we don't ignore those people. We're obviously grateful to people who can't drive, fly. Like, we appreciate that, but going down to Florida makes it very difficult for those people. And again, somebody posted on the group. It was, hey, talking about Kentucky, specifically Louisville. If you look at the map of the pins. It's really like everyone's really like right around there. And again, sure, that's driving distance. But, if we would move it out to Texas, again, are there really going to be all the people from the Midwest that drive to Texas? It's hard to know for sure. Of course, that's a what if. But
sure,
there's just a lot to consider. The further north you go in the early part of the year, the better chance you get at weather of all kinds. The
the
further
Canadians
south you go,
didn't keep it up there this year.
No.
They're doing a terrible job.
Yeah, the Canadians, I guess, were more focused on getting rid of a prime minister, which I gotta say that's probably better to focus on.
Hey, it was
Can we say
great.
that? I don't think we can say that either. But we
No, that mute button's broken.
yeah.
But
So
if you get later on in the year though, the downside of that is a lot of people starts ramping up February, don't they? Some of them.
oh yeah, we get pollens in February, and of course anybody down in the deep south. I mean, Georgia, Florida, Florida guys, a lot of them don't even ever stop, but
Yeah, they don't.
Texas and Georgia and Alabama and Louisiana, Mississippi. I mean, they're going heavy in February, and then of course, Bob, he's like, much later than early February, he's like, I can't do it. We're already starting to get so much stuff going on. So I mean, basically, if King Bob can't be there, we're just going to shut the place down.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
We can't not do that.
Yeah,
But
without him, it'll go under. Without Bob, it'll just go under.
That's right.
Nobody would come.
Nobody would come. They're just coming for Bob. I'm just a nuisance. So we are going to do our best to not have it close to the New Year's again. That was a problem. But again, about the proximity, there's a lot of density around Louisville, and so if we did move it away from Louisville, it wouldn't be that far. It definitely wouldn't be north. I can tell you that. Louisville, we're not going any further north than that. But if we did, it wouldn't be deep south, southern Alabama, southern Florida. We need more central. I mean, we're having a lot of Canadians drive down, and it is the North American Honeybee Expo, and we really do want a lot of Canadian participation and a lot of international participation. So we also are trying to keep it close to an international airport to try to make the flights cheaper for those who do fly. There was a commercial beekeeper from Quebec last year. She couldn't make it this year. She said her prime minister swarmed. Hey, Drew, it was actually good getting to have you sat down at the table with me on lunch one of the days. It was good to get to meet you in person. It sounds like things might be a little bit better up there, help you feel a little bit warmer. Hopefully things work out for you on who fills the shoes of prime minister. So yeah, Bob Benny, Godfather, he's definitely like the wise sage, if nothing else.
There's one Canadian that don't ever want to come see us anymore, and I don't know what his issue is.
We're chopped liver.
I don't know what to do with it.
Well, he's going to make it to the Wisconsin one, so
I know that. I don't understand what to do with.
It's hard not to take offense, Ian. It's hard not to take offense. Yeah, I hope he's still watching.
He's such a nice guy and very informative. And
it's all an act, Jeremy. It's all an act. It's for the YouTube views.
He's coming to see. He's coming to see Jed next week.
Yeah, Jed sent him some goodies and some cheese and all that stuff. So, yeah.
I don't think Jed's going to be there because he's still working on his girlfriend's car.
That'll be a while. He's sitting on a bucket right now trying to figure out how to fix it.
Okay, let's get some more questions, Chris.
That's it, man. We're hitting.
There's a lot of comments down below. You're telling me there's no questions?
No,
Jed
all
just said he won't be there. Let's see. He's scared of big crowds. Well, I think honestly the dates was rough for him this year, which was rough on a lot of people. And the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th was real close to New Year's. I think that was the reason for it, and it was the reason for a lot of folks. And it was really hard on the vendors. There were some vendors that couldn't come. Ricky Rourke with his horizontal hives was one of them because of the date, and we hated that. So we'll have the date to you all as soon as possible. We were working on it today, and we're going to keep working at it until we have it, so that you guys can plan. And we got someone from Japan apparently in here today. We like to have our first Japanese attendee. Places like Nashville and Sevierville are just too busy. Traffic is a big issue. What about Knoxville? Knoxville's too small. And Knoxville is and
that time of year in Sevierville, because I work there in January, it's a ghost town.
Yep.
You can roll a bowling ball down the parkway. It's so slow.
Literally.
That's why when we had it, I ain't gonna name those names of it. When we had it there, it was great. But now that it's outgrown, I'm biased. I'd love to have it there again because the mountains are so beautiful. But from everything that we're adding from the classes and speakers, it just, it's. But
And the biggest thing that kind of disqualifies most big cities, like for instance, like Columbus, Cincinnati, stuff like that, and others, is or even downtown Louisville specifically. Downtown Louisville's convention center's gorgeous.
Yeah, it really
Their
is nice.
loading dock is small. It's also on the second level.
It's
so
on
you'd
the
have to-
second story. John Hill would
What?
never be able to get this semi up there.
no,
But
No.
but in all seriousness though too, I mean again a large reason that everyone likes to come to the expo is because of the vendor hall. And if people can't bring trucks, trailers, U-Hauls, you name it, there's literally no parking downtown. So
Think about
Columbus
it.
is cool. You know, so is Detroit's. Like heck, Detroit has some awesome stuff too, but there's literally no safe flat parking in Detroit. There's no flat parking in Detroit where we could have people pull stuff in. So
Yeah,
it's not that we don't want to hear
location.
ideas, but
No safe place to park.
yeah, that's Detroit.
but think
I'll
about
say
it.
that.
There's a reason why that's the place they've been doing that show every year. What is it? That it's October. They do all the heavy equipment and the skid
Equip
steer. I don't know the name of it. What's it called?
Equip Expo.
Equip Expo. They've been doing it there for what? 20 years, 30 years?
Forever.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why they only go there and nowhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the sixth largest in the country. But like I've said, there's a lot of suggestions in the
Ticks off a lot
comments.
of
We're not
boxes.
going north. I hate to bust anybody's bubble. We're not going north. If we go anywhere ways, it's going to be left or right or south. Yeah, Detroit for a winter. Chris, don't do this. Thanks for the
Thomas, you're
for
good.
being with us as a member, Thomas, and for the comment. Clay, appreciate you
Very
again
nice.
for being one of our longtime supporters. Thanks for coming on. Hey, Barry, we were talking about you earlier and those great pins that you give to the kids. Thanks for doing that every year for them and also helping us pack bags this year again and so many other stuff that you and Jody do. There's a great contingent of Columbia, Tennessee area beekeepers that always help us each year and have since the inception of this event.
Yeah, they're
really
such nice
appreciate you,
people.
Barry. So we definitely want to. Oh, can you talk about why does the FDA want to change the definition of honey? The speakers at the commercial beekeeping presentations were saying something about this. So the FDA is looking about getting involved, and it's really tricky right now because the EPA has pretty much been over most of beekeeping, and compared to most industries, chicken, beef, pork, I mean, even grains and food products, tomatoes, cucumbers, even watermelons. When Jake and I were up there, I mean, they had certain ways you had to do certain things and or else. And so the FDA is very, very strict. The EPA is strict, but the FDA is a whole different level of regulation and intensity. There are some possible maybe advantages to the FDA defining what honey is as long as they do it properly. That's a big if. That's the scary thing is if an entity like the FDA does something that's not good for us, then it's going to be very, very hard. It's, as all of you guys know, it's a lot easier for them to make new laws versus them going back and fixing them.
Yeah.
So the last thing that we really want to do is have somebody who doesn't understand. We don't want those dumb people in Hollywood making, reaching out to the FDA or whatever, or at least the people with the FDA watching their dumb videos about what beekeepers actually do. They're going to be like, well, apparently honey's flammable. We need to regulate this more because that's what's in this video. So the scary thing is if the FDA defines honey incorrectly, it could make it even small scale beekeepers that are just running a sideline more heavily regulated. It could mean more expense. It could really hurt us. So it's a problem. And a lot of this is more commercial. And this is something, guys, I'm going to get in the weeds just for 30 seconds, but something that with the North American Honeybee Expo, we're working with commercial beekeepers, concerned sideliners, and small professionals. And we aren't the tip of the spear on this, but we're going to be a part of it and getting more and more involved because we have got to hurry up and take the reins on a lot of these big issues like possible influx of new pests into the country, Canadian border issues, what to do when there is a new invasive pest, and also the definition of honey. And then, of course, if we can get a proper definition of honey, it's a lot easier to crack down on honey fraud. So if we can actually get it done properly without heavily regulating our industry, then if you take a look at New Zealand, you'll be scared of the FDA. We really don't want them involved. So, but the thing of it is, right now we have an opportunity as an industry to help guide the future of beekeeping. But if we just sit back and let other entities do so, it could be detrimental and very hard to fix. So the problem of it is, and any commercial beekeeper that's watching this, please don't take offense. But if that's what motivates you, then please do take offense. We need you guys to pull your head out of the hives and get together and work on stuff that you don't like to work on. And I get it. I would prefer to do bees than have to deal with a lot of the emails that I have to deal with, and to deal with the personalities. I had someone send an email to my mom today, or it was the other day. I just found out about today, and I didn't like it. She didn't like it either. We have to deal with stuff, and we deal with a lot of people. Most of the people are awesome. And so, it's easier a lot of times to say, you know what, bees are great. I like bees. It's the great outdoors. That's easy. And that's what we want most beekeepers to be able to do. But with these big issues, we have got to take the reins. We need commercial beekeepers especially to pull themselves out of their operations for a little bit and to fight for our industry, to safeguard it for the future. And we have the means to do so. We have the talent. We have incredible men and women in the industry. But unfortunately, we don't have very good organization. And I know if some people are going to take mass offense to this, but you know what? They're already picking on me in all the commercial groups anyways, and saying everything else. So what more can they say? I'll just sick my wife after them. She's the meanest one of the two of us. So a proper and beneficial definition of honey. There are some parts of the government that classify part of beekeeping in aquaculture. Like one, I think it's California that does it. I believe their state has something weird about it being like part of fish or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
I can see it. Yeah,
absolutely insane. So if we can steer the industry forward to what we need, we can protect ourselves from heavy regulation, but then we can also now have a better means of legally fighting honey fraud. Because if there's no clear definition on it, if you can't define what honey is, well, this rice syrup from Hong Kong, that can be honey. This vegan honey can be called honey. So that was a little bit longer than 30 seconds, guys. About 45 seconds, I think. That's what that was.
45 minutes. Yeah.
Sorry. Very, very passionate about this. There's a lot of good guys in this industry. We're going to get it done. Thanks, Barry. And honestly, when we were going through the upheaval in the past, and having to switch to Louisville and the North American Honeybee Expo, I got down quite a bit. There was just a lot of pressure from outside and inside, and a lot of people saying things about me that weren't true, and it was hard. And a lot of times, what motivated me was I had a lot of buddies like you who were super looking forward to it and couldn't wait for it, and I just kept thinking. And I kept telling Laurel, I'm like, we've got these people counting on us. We have got to do this. And of course, Jake and Jeremy and Chris obviously have been a super helpful with supporting me with a lot of the workload, more and more each year. So, all right, I have run my mouth so much.
Imagine that.
So Jake, of all the bad experiences you went through that you want to share, what was the worst thing you had to deal with this year? Well,
honestly, I don't think there was just one particular. Well, actually, there is one particular person, but I ain't going to go into that.
Yeah, that's that one.
Yeah, but it was just a lot of work unloading those trucks and getting them situated. It was nice at the end because there's a lot more people there to pitch in to help out. But no, there wasn't necessarily a one bad time during the conference. The conference is just I know you hear a lot of compliments on it, but it was spectacular, especially meeting all the people, seeing all the people. Everybody had just such a high energy, tons of positivity. It just went over really good.
Well, that means a lot coming from someone who had to bust his rear end to make it happen. So, I feel like if you guys can still like it after going all through the stuff that you just went through, then maybe we're doing something right.
Maybe a little.
Jeremy, what about you? What's something that you guys would like to see better next year? Maybe that question. You guys got some suggestions?
Maybe. I don't really know. I mean, there's so many things going through my head, but I don't want to say them out loud until we actually talk about it.
I think we need to.
Because Kristen said, now listen, we can't bring up things that we haven't hashed out yet. So
don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. No, I didn't have a bad experience just the last day. I actually lost my voice. I'm still trying to get it back like Cayman. And I would want to give a shout out to Chris's brother, Zach, who stepped up and at the end there, trying to bring everybody in. He throwed out some ideas, and I was like, I like it, because he's 20, but, even old guys can learn something from young guys. And he was really helpful. I mean, just everything. He was really good help, positive attitude, funny like his brother. I mean, but as far as anything bad, there's nothing bad. I mean, it was really good.
Zach Madera was a pleasant surprise. When Chris said he was bringing his kid brother, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You just really don't know what to expect. Yeah. And he was.
He did great. He
did awesome.
He was really, really good. And, you can't forget our entertainment. Billy Joe Adair. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
the coffee queen. I mean, king.
Yep.
He cracked. He talked about his work release program one more time when I walked over there. It was just so funny. And I done heard it 20 times, and he kept saying it. It was hilarious. So, I don't have really nothing bad to say. I mean, we were pretty wore out, but I don't even want to say that's bad. It was just, and then getting the whole week started, I actually came up on Monday. You guys were there Sunday, but what a difference. What a difference. It was great, Maybe the cold when we were taking turns outside, that was probably the worst part. But
so real quick on this, Drew. I think most consumers really have no clue. Just don't have a clue. I think with a lot of things here in the U.S., a lot of us don't read the label, and I think some of us are way too trusting that if it says organic honey from Brazil, well, they just assume that it's organic honey from Brazil. And we would hope that it would be. I really have no problem with importing real honey into this country as long as it's real honey held to safe standards that doesn't have a bunch of chemicals in it as actually honey. Because I do love trying honeys from around the world. But I think your average consumer just has no idea. A lot of the reason people buy honey is because they think it's a health product. And it is if it's real. And so, it's a lot more expensive than buying a lot of the other sweeteners. You can get stevia. You can, of course, get sugar. There's a lot of other sweeteners out there that are way cheaper. And so I think most of the people that are real cheap are buying those. I'm sure there's some people like what you're talking about, but I really believe that most of them. And then if you go to like where Jeremy's at there in Gatlinburg, I mean, there's a company over there. They're lying through their teeth selling sourwood honey that doesn't look like sourwood. It doesn't have the consistency of honey.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
I know, and everybody does because they sell in Nashville too. And they're hurting our local beekeepers. They're selling that stuff for $15 a pound all day long in Gatlinburg. It's sourwood honey. It's rice syrup and corn syrup and garbage. And people are paying $15 a pound or more in Gatlinburg for it, thinking they're getting a specialty mountain healthy product. We've got to fight this, and we can fight this. In any other industry, this level of fraud would already be scrutinized way more. The problem of it is beekeepers, there's few of us, and we're far apart, and we're not very organized because the only person we like picking on more than non-beekeepers is each other. Not all of us, but the problem is usually the nice ones are the quiet ones. And we don't need the nice ones to be quiet right now. We need the nice ones to get motivated, get their heads out of the bees and get busy. And it's going to take some time. And there's going to be a lot of, like that lady, Carla Robertson. I want to make a post about that. Maybe, heck, I might even bring her on a live chat for 20 to 30 minutes.
That would be great.
19-year-old can spearhead a thing to stop fake honey in this country. Maybe that's what we need, is somebody young to do it. So I had a guy at a local market talk about 10 minutes about how great honey was and all the health benefits. And then he told me he could get the honey cheaper off of Amazon than mine.
Go ahead.
Yep. Well, there are people like that. And that's where we as beekeepers have got to tell them that pretty much that's just fake. And I would say most of the beeswax on there is fake too. There was a guy, this has been months ago, but he had sent me pictures of where he had bought beeswax off of Amazon and was melting it down, and the dye is separated from the wax, and the dye started going off like a watery substance away from the wax.
Wow.
And he's like, is this normal? I'm like, no, beeswax does not do that. And so, Amazon can be useful for some things, but when it comes to honeybee stuff, it is so adulterated on there. You have to really watch it. Real quick on the microscopy workshop, I want to give some people something to look forward to on that. So this is Hank Yasik. Thanks again for helping, Hank. Can you talk about Etienne's microscopy workshop? I think a lot of people didn't even know what it was going on. Well, that's because it was announced like a few days before the expo, and like Gus's, Gus was like 45 minutes and it was sold out. Gus wanted 24 people per classroom and only wanted to do 2 this year. And, these guys are, these workshops are intense. Etienne did 4 workshops, but we had 9 microscopes for people. And we had 2 people per microscope, and we could have had more people per microscope, but that really takes away from the experience, and the experience needs to be great. And so we capped it to 2. That was 72 people that could do that. And the feedback that we got from all the workshops was best part of the expo that they had, which I just shafted this guys because now everyone's going to want to do it next year. But the nice thing was, though, is we have a year under our belts. They sold out fast, and some people complained they didn't see them, and that's fair. But honestly, if everyone could have been made aware at the same time, they would have sold out in 5 minutes. So the chances of you still getting in there were not good at all. We're going to do everything that we can to make that available. We're even, again, talking about adding an extra day. Etienne also had Keith Madera, Chris's dad, who has worked with a lot of microscopes in the past, just not in beekeeping, training him up. Also worked with Kara Ching, who was, I think that's how her last name is, who was awesome as well and very skilled. And so it's likely that we'll have multiple rooms going next year with more opportunities as well. But even with that, if we're able to get 200 people through next year, or even 300, that's not even 10% of the people that come. And so we're looking at maybe doing where everyone signs up who wants to do it beforehand, and we just do a random pull from that. And that's not the greatest either, but maybe that keeps it a little bit fair. Or whatever. And then, of course, anyone who came last year, we do have records. They won't be able to, come back to the same class. We're also looking at having a basic course, which is more what this year was an introductory into the microscopy for beekeeping, and then have a more advanced class that Etienne will be teaching next year, which sounds like what we're going to be doing. So as far as Gus's cut comb, it's likely that there will be more of that. We're talking with a couple guys about maybe doing a creamed honey and more candle making. So we're looking at having a broader selection, more of them. But keep in mind that, especially with having the dates, we plan to have the dates wherever we're at off of the New Year's. There's going to be more competition. So we are going to work devilishly hard over the upcoming months to create as many opportunities for everyone as possible. But it is a unique position to be in.
He's
And,
good.
and unfortunately, there's not a running bee conferences for dummies handbook because I will be reading it right now.
I think
Fun time,
adding
guys.
more workshops would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be fun. We need to have one like a day before everything starts so our
Yeah,
staff can go through.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That would be great because, and then bringing that scientific approach into our conference makes us more, unique as well, because we're having the best of both worlds, so.
And I want to say a shout out to Rocky Mountain Bee Supply. Dolly helped me on the last night after everybody was out of there. They were loading up and getting out and hooking up to their trailer, and I wasn't parked far at all from them. And I was by myself trying to hook the trailer up, and she helped guide me back to get hooked up. And that's just that kind of stuff that makes. There's a lot of that happens that makes the expo a lot better for everybody, helping each other out. Just wanted to say a thank you and thanks to them for being one of our great vendors and low maintenance. We don't, when we think about Rocky Mountain Bee Supply, we don't think, oh, here they come again. So it's nice for them to be one of those vendors that we don't think about in that way. There's definitely a handful that we're like, oh, those guys again. So we've seen several people mention Charlotte and places over more towards the east. It's definitely not outside of the realm of possibility. We're definitely looking at some events and event centers and seeing what they can offer. And we'll definitely try to decide something that'll be best for our team and for everyone else. Will there be a lowest maintenance vendor award? Well, Jed, you ain't getting it. I can tell you that right now. Them stuff stupid heavy. All I hear is like, hey, what about? Remember, he was complaining about his floor space. The first vendor to complain.
Yep.
Floor space. Hey, this is crooked over
Complained
here.
about the floor.
He was one of the last vendors to leave, so we had to almost wait on him.
Yeah, that's right. It took him forever to get out of there. What's
then
the
he had
deal,
something
man?
sticky in his booth, and he lost his mind over that.
Yep.
So
he's particular about his storage area too. I had to help him out with that.
Yeah. Maybe we should have a high maintenance award. You might be in the running for that, Jed.
that or a prima donna award.
Yeah. And the prima donna vendor award goes to. Hey, that floor was bad.
Here we go.
It was bad on his defense, but it was like
he's still complaining. Yeah. So you're not getting the award, Jed. Sorry. But no, the floor was bad. I don't know what ran through his booth. It looked like there was
like a forklift did a burnout.
It did like a forklift did a burnout with sugar on the wheels or something. It was tacky, it was sticky. But the problem of it is, and this is one of the cool things about the Kentucky Expo Centers. They have a lot of ag conferences. I mean, horses, sheep. I mean, every livestock imaginable in these places. And they got when we got there, guys, it smelled like a horse barn, like the biggest horse barn you'd ever been in. And part of the reason the stinking dock plates don't work is because there's so much straw and horse crap built up in the dock plates. And so what was in your booth, Jed, may have been coming out the south end of a northbound horse at some point.
Yeah.
Which
I do want to touch on something real quick because I was listening to some live chats the other night about those carts. And just so everybody knows, the reason why the carts are an issue, everybody talks about the floor and how there's animals during the show, whatever, and I'm sure there is. It's because of those bigger carts, the door framing. They beat the door framing up, the thresholds, they mess all that up. So the biggest reason is their door framing. They don't want, when people come through, they slam into them, they tear the door framings up, and even the threshold. So just an FYI, that's the biggest issue with those big wooden carts. I know they'll let some of those wagons. They were letting some of those go through, and then there was some confusion on some of them got to go through, and then they didn't stop others. So
we'll make that a lot more clear next year, Chris. I think that would be a good sign to have, and we'll start posting that earlier. If we're back at Louisville, we will definitely have some signs like that, and also make sure security, because some of the security was doing it right, and some of the security was doing it wrong, and the security, I think they did pretty good. We have to have those guys, and they did better than the year before. a lot of people like, why are the tickets so expensive? And there's a lot of reasons for that. But like, I paid $10,000 in security and paramedics this year. I'd rather pay our own people who would do a better job and do things better. It'd just be better. And I'd be happy to pay them instead, but that's just not the way these places work. And you have to, they have their rules. You got to abide by them.
I got to brag. Our team did amazing loadout. We kind of, we took what we did last year. And we're like, okay, well, what did work, what didn't work, and then we took what we did this year for setup. And we said, hey, that really worked well. What if we do it reverse? And there were a couple small little hiccups, but nothing major. And I mean, everybody I thought was out quick. We got everybody in, everybody out. I heard about one or two grumbly people, and again, it was, it happens. But yeah, I thought loadout went really well, and we were all to Chili's as a team by 9:30. So
well, I mean, as always, we're the first ones there and the last ones to leave.
That's right.
We're the one that turns the lights out.
Yeah, locks the doors, all that kind of stuff, and tells John Hill and his team, get out, get out, get out. You can't stay no longer. Mostly it was Jed Thorne on the last day.
Yeah, we really pour our heart and soul in this, because literally when we leave, I was sitting at the table with Chili's about to fall out. I mean, no voice. I was like,
your voice is gone, man.
Dude, it was like, and I'm just like, these people, we do this, obviously because we are beekeepers and we love them and we want them there, and it's just a great community. And even the ones that are kind of grumpy, hey, it's frustrating, but at the same time, we love
just
them.
ban them the next year.
Yeah.
But not always. There's a couple
always.
of those.
And then, the vendors, we got great vendors like the Burnses, the McCaffreys, Rob and his family, Bees Needs, Whiskey, Trail Bees, and of course Jed and Hidden Hollow and Happy Bee Expo. There's just so many of them that's been coming. It's just really awesome, and they really get it, and they're really kind, and they go out of their way to understand. And so the few that kind of get grumbly, all that kind of drowned out by the ones that are just so good to work with. So,
and Jeremy, to add to you too, I mean, we even have companies like Growing Success who took who took a obviously very successful business.
Great family
with Dwayne and Kim. And their situation, and they've stepped in. They said they were there last year as like a little minor thing. But then they were like, we get it. We see what's going on. We understand the love and support that they had at Dogwood Ridge, and they want to live up to that, and that's awesome. So I mean, that just shows the vendor quality we have there is
and then
it's high.
And how cool was that with the box that we were all sending our love and prayers to Dwayne and his wonderful wife. That was just like that. That was awesome. It was
it was awesome. Dwayne was one of our first. He was amongst our first vendors, and when we started the first conference, we had 200 people there in Lebanon, and I had a hard time convincing anybody because COVID was going on, and
rampant.
We had Dogwood Ridge showed up. I was able to get Jennifer Pretty to come for Man Lake, and then one of the old folks that no longer works with Jennifer Pretty's now with the Hilco, funny enough. But I only had like 3 real vendors. I had Hank show up with a little bit of Apame, and then we had Ricky Rorick with like a couple horizontal hives.
Yeah, we missed Ricky this year.
We did, but Dwayne and Kimberly was one of the first people we ever had. And you want to talk about low maintenance vendors. They showed up every year, and they invested into their booth and brought all kinds of stuff year in and year out. Just never ever a problem with them, always helpful. Dwayne gave me a lot of good advice because he did a lot of trade shows with his other business, which he makes a specialized carburetor, if I remember, and a few other things for race cars. So the beekeeping was a side hustle for them. It was more Kimberly's thing. And unfortunately, Kimberly, of course, had a terrible bout with cancer, and so they sold to the Growing Success folks, and they're super awesome. But Dwayne and Kimberly are in our prayers, and always part of the community of beekeepers that we have. And I hope that they're able to come in the future. They weren't able to make it this year, but maybe in the future. So there was a question right here, and this is something that this survey that Chris mentioned earlier. Chris, do you mind refreshing us on that just real quick?
Yep. Yeah, we'll send that out to all attendees' emails. So if you're an attendee and you obviously had to get an email with your ticket, we will take all those emails and throw them in the machine, and we'll get the form sent, or excuse me, the survey sent out. And we ask you to take be thoughtful with your survey and really give us some feedback. Obviously there's feasible feedback but I mean, again, don't just be polite with your feedback. Where we can't fix things we don't know about. So we'll definitely be reading through them all and going through. And there's lots of stuff. There's talk about, hey, if you have an idea of a new location, there's a spot for it. What do you think about certain dates? That's on there. So
or speakers,
yep, or speakers. Yep.
And so this is a question that fits right into that. And I have heard this question from this person before about apitherapy, more bee bred machines. And I think I mentioned before, we'll need suggestions on that. The few that I have seen into apitherapy, many don't speak very good English. And while they may be very brilliant, they're going to have to be able to communicate very well in English to be considered as one of our speakers. But we are open to suggestions. The suggestions that actually move the needle are the ones that are usually followed with a link to a video of that person, or something that can kind of validate how competent they are on a stage. A lot of smart people that are terrible on stage. And there's a lot of people that are good on stage that really are terrible beekeepers or researchers. So we have to really go through a lot of people. And then we have a lot of hot shots that show up each year that take up a good bit of my time, telling me how great of a speaker they would be at my expo next year. And
we love those people.
That's a really great way to not get invited. That might not be very nice, but we send us a video, send us some reason why we should. Bee bred machines, I don't think anybody in the U.S. probably uses those to any great extent. Obviously it's very popular overseas. I'd love to have that. Absolutely would love to see that, but we'll definitely have to have education to go with us on how to use these machines. Obviously pollen collectors is a little bit better. But yeah, we would love to have that. We definitely want to have all the things. But that's really outside of typical North American wheelhouse. But bring it to our attention. Give us feedback. Give us videos, PowerPoints. We definitely want to see more unique stuff at the Bee Expo, and hopefully with more international participation that we see each year. We will get that, as long as it's not vendors trying to come in and knock off everybody else's product like this. And especially we have to use a translation app to tell them to shove off. How do you say "get out of here" in Mandarin?
Security.
Yeah. I was fixing to say something. I'm not going to say it. Chris is fixing to hit the mute.
Doesn't need to be said. We're good.
So one of my favorite Facebook posts that's happened afterwards was that guy sniffing that block of wax and admitting to be a closet wax sniffer. I just laughed so hard.
Who posted the picture of you standing on a bucket?
He did. Cayman
I
posted
actually
that.
posted that. Come, hear ye, come hither and hear the tale. You got to do what you got to do, Jake. Not all of us are almost bear proof. Paul Kelly would be great. So we've had Paul Kelly 2 years as a speaker. Paul Kelly's always welcome. Maybe he could do a workshop of some kind. What are you judging what I just said, Laurel? Did I do something wrong? Oh, really? Okay. I've been chastised, everybody.
Good.
Jacob approves of this. So Jed says setup and teardown was great. Closet wax sniffer, that was priceless. It was funny. Hey, Jerome, we did find, I think we do have out in some of the stuff that you lost, and someone returned back to the lost and found. So we've got weeks worth of stuff going on. I'm going to try to get it out to you before then. But I did see your email. And there's just a lot of stuff like that, and a lot of follow-up post conference. It takes us multiple weeks after the expo to finish up all the work that happens in the aftermath. So, but we will get that to you. I just wanted to say that because I saw you in here, and thanks for coming again. Thanks for the videos about the expo and all that kind of stuff. So, any more questions or anything of importance, Chris?
What was that? Sorry, I'm watching the Buckeyes.
Is Ohio State playing right now?
Yeah.
Go Texas.
Listen to him. We didn't even know the game was happening. Listen, just because Alabama laid an egg this year.
So this is why you haven't been very interactive. Is because you're only giving us half of your bandwidth. I see how it is.
No, like
football,
a quarter.
And then bees.
No, a quarter. But see, I know that I can chat and over talk. So we have our team on here. I want to let them shine. So I'm good.
So what's the score?
14 all.
Ooh, hook 'em.
14 all what?
Hook 'em.
Texas?
Look at this.
Hook 'em.
What's happening right now?
How is he
I'm just
doing
gonna
this? He
remove
was
Jeremy.
shooting fireworks.
I'm just gonna remove Jeremy. Where's my fireworks? Darn it!
He said hook 'em.
How does almost the least tech of us all have all the tech options on?
I'm just gonna mute him. It's getting.
It's got to be this Apple tablet. I don't use Apple devices. I'm sitting there like, okay, I'll take it.
So it's 14 Longhorns.
Not
It's tied
14
up.
to 14.
Yes.
Oh, 14 to 14.
I said, yeah,
Okay,
14 all. I said.
I was like, you
So-
seem to be in a decent mood, Chris, for it to be 14-0.
We only playing Texas right now.
I just gotta stay calm.
So
Yeah. Here, Mark said I like the questionnaire. Yeah. So we've been building it. Listen. Laurel yelled at me on Monday, maybe it was Tuesday, for working on stuff already. But again, like, this really is. I know all four of us would say yes, but this really is a labor of love. Like, we enjoy what we do. We joke about vendors, we joke about this, that, and the other, but the four of us on here and the rest of the team, again, there's a lot of us that work. We would not do it if we didn't like it. We wouldn't. No, I mean, people don't do what they
it's
what they
brutal.
don't want to do.
It's not 8-hour days, that's for darn sure.
No. And someone asked, and Cayman and it's fun. Cayman and I get to hang out 3, 4, 5 times a week for 2, 3, 4 hours a night. Yeah, I come home from work, get the kids in bed, and we work, and we have fun though. I mean, so it's fun. So.
It is. Well, it should be better in the near future as you tell your other job to shove it. And oops,
How do I block this Mike guy? This Mike guy needs to
Get him out of here.
This is like, come on, Mike, come on.
Mike, you got into a workshop this year. Your chances on that lottery for next year are really slimming down.
Yeah, Mike who? Yeah,
that's right. So what about? So we just had someone comment about the question about having tables out in the lobby this year.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's that was a suggestion by several of the attendees, and we listened to that. And so we really do listen to your stuff. Some of the asks are just not within our power to make happen, but that one definitely was.
Yeah.
And
no, that's why we've mentioned the questionnaire a couple times, because we really do listen to you guys, and we really do listen to vendors. We don't like to put something on that people don't like, and it's sometimes hard work for us. So, so a couple of quick things that hit on that we're working on that we've heard. Obviously, and this is like Louisville specific right now because it's in our head. If we move, there's different things. But we've heard people would like a coat check. There's a lot of logistics behind that. So coat check. And then we know people have asked for like motorized wheelchairs at the expo for people who are in their own wheelchairs or in like an actual wheeled wheelchair. And that's something too that we're looking into. And again, those are like Louisville specific things because we're familiar with that. If we go somewhere else, that we'll have to figure that out. But yeah. So
everybody's silent, waiting on Laurel's response.
Well, when the queen signals, everyone shuts up and listens.
Listen.
Oh,
Listen.
OH.
So Randy Oliver, we were really excited to have Randy. Some of the guys like that. There was a suggestion earlier to get Michael Palmer, and I've really tried. I'd love to get Michael there. But the thing of it is with guys like Michael and Randy, they're older and they don't like to travel so much. And what you got to realize too is this is old hat to these guys. They are in so high demand between Zooms and chats, and a lot of beekeepers are major introverts. They don't like big crowds, speaking in front of them either. And if they don't need the money, and they don't, and to them, it's just another gig. Now, thankfully, Randy's really trying to do a lot of stuff in the industry to move the needle, and I think saw the importance of what we're doing with the expo, and is supporting it by being there. He said he had a great time, and I really appreciated him taking the time out of his extremely busy schedule to be at our expo. And I would love to get Michael there too. I've told him anytime he wants to come, he's got a ticket to the expo and a paying speaking gig, and hotels ready to go. So I'm glad that you enjoyed Randy Oliver and were part of the next program. You can pay it forward by keeping bees and teaching people locally about the importance of real honey, and also maybe helping out a new beekeeper sometime. So you see all those Buckeyes right there? Yeah, that's where they belong, in a bag and thrown in a river.
Look here at the Michigan blue bag
Listen.
too. Michigan colored blue.
For all you haters, well, I'm gonna have these next year, and I'm gonna share some Buckeyes with you.
Oh, okay.
My only hope is that you put them in your mouth and choke on them. So.
Are they better than the chocolate that you gave us?
No, not as good as the chocolate. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris getting paid to watch football is what Jed said. Oh, man.
Thanks, Jed. Thanks, Jed.
Time and a half, says Zach. Chris is a multitasker. Oh, leave Chris alone. He's an Ohio State fan. He should have thought of that before he picked them as a team. The Ohio State. Excuse me, I forgot about the.
You got the
Who would do something like that? Not someone like the North American Honeybee Expo.
We have the trademarked for the record.
Yeah, the trademark. No, Chris. I'm just thankful that you're actually doing this with us instead of we're just watching the game. Oh yeah, fun fact. One of the first things that I gave Laurel when we were when I was hitting on her was I gave Hive Tool a subscription to the American Bee Journal and a Buckeye.
So romantic.
I had
talk about love at first sight. My goodness.
Hey, take it easy, man. It's worked out pretty good for me. The methods may be strange, but it's very effective. Very effective. You can, if you want exceptional results, you have to do odd things. You can't be normal.
No.
Especially when you're 5'6", you cannot be normal.
No, you
the
can't.
Girl's not marrying you for your height. That's for darn sure.
But look, hey, there's some shoes I can get you because my wife is Vietnamese, and a lot of them over there is about your height. And they wear those shoes that are like that thick. They're tennis shoes. So I literally could get you some like boots that'll have that. Nobody will even know it because they'll literally just look like a taller sole.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure no one's going to notice that. So
it
take
like
the
those
cat's
boots?
out of the bag on how tall I am now, Jeremy.
You're looking eye to eye with some of us who might be thinking, boy, he's really been eating his, drinking his milk and stuff here lately.
That's right. They're going to think I've got some type of Tom Cruise problem. And it's all gone to my head.
I'm
ego's getting to me.
I'm sure some of our Florida beekeepers could let us know where DeSantos gets those boots at, and you'd be great. So, you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Goodness! Oh yeah.
So, that was a new addition this year with the early honey show entry, and a lot of the things we tried it out, and it worked pretty good on our end. There's going to be some adjustments made along the way. Every year we're learning stuff, and there's a lot of it. You have to try it before you really can find out how well it works. Everything looks a certain way on paper, and then you do it at the expo. No, you should not,
Come on.
Laurel. If you're going to share these things, you have to be on the live chat with us.
Come on, Laurel. Let's do it. Help
Dude,
us out, Laurel.
Everybody wants it. Come on in, Laurel.
No,
Come on
Laurel,
in.
you better be getting on this live chat. If you're going to tell this tell, you got to get on camera for these people.
She's got to come in the room and tell it live.
Yeah, that's probably true, Tristan. That's probably true. I'm pretty used to being at this low of atmosphere. Now, David McDade finally comes through with something useful.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Randy Oliver.
Yeah, he did.
He had flip-flops on. I've seen Randy in all kinds of weather. It is sandals and flip-flops.
Yeah.
That is it.
Well, did you get any feedback from him, from Randy? Did he enjoy himself? Was he happy?
Yeah, he had a blast. Said he'd like to do it again sometime. So
that's good.
So we had Dr. Cameron Jack the previous year in 2025. I don't know if we'll have him back again or not. I did talk to him and Jamie Ellis when I spoke down in the Florida State Beekeepers Association. They were also down there. And I've mentioned to Jamie about having him in the future. That seemed like it was a pretty good possibility. One of the things that we're talking to a lot of them, and any of you guys who work with some universities or know some people with the universities, let them know we're giving free boosts to these universities. So if they want to represent Florida State Beekeepers or the Florida Bee Labs or the USDA Labs, we had GA Labs this year.
Yep.
If they want to represent Cornell, even if it's some bee branch at the Ohio State University, we'll accept them too. As long as Michigan also shows up. Put them right next to each other. Oh, man, that would be great.
Well, Dr. Cameron, he might have some new updated, with all the testing they've been doing. So maybe if he comes back, since it's been a year, be 2 years, he might have some new information on some of the test results. I mean, I don't know.
We would hope so. We would hope so. But I talked to Cameron Jack a handful of times throughout the year, and I see him at different places I speak at. So I'll ask and see. We're always, of course, trying to get new people in. A lot of people want new folks in as well. And so there are some guys like Bob Benny we're going to have back every year in some form or fashion. He may not speak 2 times every year, but we'll, we as long as Bob Benny's on this earth, we are going to get Bob Benny in there if we have to wheel him in on a wheelchair. And thankfully Bob's he really likes being there, and so that makes us very happy. It makes me feel like we're doing something right. We got King Bob's approval.
Well, and Fred's there every year, so that's a good thing.
I do like that one. And
their mascot.
And Marianne Sears, congratulations again to our grand champion.
Yes. Congratulations
of our North American Honey and Beeswax Championship.
Oh, nice!
And
congrats.
She won a lot of blue ribbons and second place ribbons. And how you win that is by getting the most points than anybody else.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris, put your arms down. You're losing friends. But thanks, Marianne. Obviously, I know what an outdoor lady wants, and what Laurel wants is she wants to be treated well. And she wants cool stuff, and she's not into all the normal high school girly type stuff. She wants tools.
Yes.
She wants other stuff too, but Laurel likes tools. She's not going to let me fool with all the cool tools around here. I have to fight over it sometimes.
That's the way they raise them women here in Dandridge. They put them out there, putting them to work.
I've literally fought over who gets to use the chainsaw.
Wow.
So my mom and dad, they're not like that at all. So my mom's not telling my dad to stop doing, put down the chainsaw. But different. My mom also, she's had some health problems over the years. Laurel's blessed with a lot better health. We've been talking for quite a while. Lots of good things. I appreciate everybody who's joined in, provided suggestions. Fourth and Goal can't get it in. I don't know what's going on. It sounds interesting. Sounds like we need to probably end this live chat. I told you guys it'd be an hour and a half. I got close this time. But I do want to wind it up with saying, thanks everybody so much for supporting us on YouTube. That's what's led to the North American Honeybee Expo existing. It's what's led to the youth programs. It's what's led to innovation and helping out young companies be able to grow quicker. It's also led to a lot of wonderful friendships. The friendships we have with you all and the friendships that we have here with Chris and Jacob and Jeremy and all the other part of our expo teams members. Appreciate all you guys and gals very much. You guys, in my mind and Laurel's mind, are some of the best people. We're very blessed to know you, and the expo wouldn't be able to run properly without you. So we appreciate you for that, and we'll be talking to you more. But thanks for taking the time, Jacob and Jeremy, and for the stuff that you're doing between now and next year to help us out and to help beekeepers all around the country and outside the country.
Well, we appreciate you and allowing us to be a part of the team, and especially allowing me to get past folding shirts for you, and doing all that, so
you got to start at the bottom, work your way up, Jeremy.
Hey, that's what I tell everybody. You got to grind it out.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Some people's got to shovel, you know what, and others just got to,
Jake, you never folded shirts, did you?
No, my first job was setting up the stand that held the big screen.
Oh, that sucked.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into the details on why that
you
sucked
were with
so
those
much.
people.
Yeah, you had some really good leadership over there.
Don't do it.
Laurel and I had nothing to do with that.
It's
That's
a
all I'm gonna
trap.
say.
It's a trap.
Yeah, hit the mute button. Well, the other job that you had, which was also a blessing, Jake, was getting when we were last year at Sevierville, and we had all that food stuff when people coming through the lines and checking badges and having to do all that. That was the gift that kept on giving right there.
Yeah. So plenty of stories.
I'm so glad that we're not doing any of the food like that anymore.
Yeah, no, thank God.
I know that some people don't like that the food's a little bit higher priced at the expo. But when you go to an expo, you go to a ball game, you pay more for food. It actually could be worse than what it is. And Laurel and I, we eat there too. There are certain things we do a lot to try to save everybody as much money as we can and keep the prices down. But there are some battles we cannot win. And it's either that or not have any food and then have to leave the expo and come back. And by the time you calculate your time away from the expo, your gas and all that, you probably wouldn't be that much better off anyway. So,
well, I just
we're going to have Derby pizza.
So what'd you say, Jake?
Next year, we're going to have Derby pizza delivered.
Yes.
Catered.
Yeah, we'll make sure to tell the guy when you get to that check-in point, just gun
go on by.
Well, all you got to do is stay the far outside. Because I will admit, when I left my phone in the room and I came back, I went to the right side, and I was on the phone with Chris, and I just drove right by the outside one. I was like, you know what? I think somebody was in that. I said, I just blew right, but I'd already used my ticket to get in.
If Jessica's listening, we're so sorry.
Yeah, so we're sorry. Didn't mean to.
Oh, no.
Jeremy's going to be docked for it. He's going to be folding shirts next year for hours.
But, hey, the expo was huge. It was huge, you know what I'm saying? But anyway.
Which one was it?
Well, we need to do this more often. Just all four of us getting on here and just.
Laurel's laughing at us. She just came in here and horse laughed, all four of us.
What's the compliment?
David McDay with another zinger. I didn't have a honeymoon. I had a sorghum.
He's talking about me. Remember my first conference of yours I went to? It was
Oh, that's
actually
right.
part of
Yes.
my honeymoon.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, Jake you were on your honeymoon. Angie had to do all that stuff. You know, Jake,
Yeah.
I might pick on you like a lot, but you are pretty hardcore. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
But
yeah,
then
that was-
again, you were just picking on me about the gifts that I gave Laurel for our first gifts, and then for your honeymoon, you just folded you didn't fold shirts. You had to do all those crappy jobs during your honeymoon. So you know what? I didn't do that on my honeymoon. I was better than that.
Hey,
Go on.
nothing is more romantic than going to a beekeeping conference for your honeymoon. I don't know what else could be.
Well, it's a great way to set expectations for the rest of her life.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Laurel's in the other room. I could just hear her giggling like it's on the YouTube video. She's like,
so Jono right here, he's complimenting. We really appreciate it. And he said, I'm sure next year will be even better somehow. But I can tell you right now, we got some pretty cool things up our sleeves that if we can pull it off, you guys are going to be blown away next year even more. So,
you want to giggle into the microphone, Laurel?
yeah, tell her to come in there.
Laurel, everyone's waiting for you.
Come on, Laurel.
Come on, Laurel.
It's so weird to see like somebody giggle and threaten you at the same time.
That's a serious threat, though. When they're doing
This
that,
is what I get to see every
that's
night.
Serious. They
Just
mean
wait till I
business.
get done with my giggle fit. You're toast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt.
Now, she's just cracking up in there. This is why I married her, because I couldn't find most people laughing at my bad jokes.
Hey,
Is this like stop it or you're fixing to slit my throat? I'm trying to figure that one out. Yeah, it sounds a bit psychotic. So since we're on the point of talking about embarrassing
No return.
moments in marriage and making fools out of ourselves as
Here we
men,
go.
here we
I had
go.
been married less than a year, and I didn't have any sisters. Okay. Laurel goes to giggling, and I can't even remember what it was, but she giggled, and then she started crying. It was like a half cry, half giggle. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. And the more I was like, what's going on? Hey, what do you need? Are you laughing? Are you crying? And the more she'd laugh, cry, and I just could not figure it out. That's the problem is us guys have very little emotion. We're very simple. Girls are a lot more complicated and think through things a lot more than guys do. That's if you're in danger of 3 times, I should be blinking all the time at this point. But anyway, so I couldn't get her to stop crying, and it freaked me out. And so as the guy, I did the only rational thing there was to do. I've got to somehow stop this train from moving. I took a nearby glass of water and splashed some of it in her face.
Yeah, that stopped everything.
Well, no, it stopped the laughing side.
That's
of
what
it.
I'm talking about.
And then another emotion took its place. It was a crying / anger, righteous indignation. And I learned very quickly that girls are quite different than guys.
You're lucky she didn't build you into one of the chimneys there on the Parkway when she and her dad were building that. Just leave you there.
Yeah. So we definitely that was a learning lesson for me. I absolutely love it though. Life would be so terribly boring without those fine women that make the Bee Expo so awesome. Because Andrea,
100%.
my mother, Laurel, and several of the other ladies, they spruce so much stuff up. They think of a lot of decorative things and signs and designs and stuff that we just wouldn't. So it definitely is much appreciated, and the world would be boring. I love watching Laurel get excited over something that I would just never even take the time to stop and look at. So it's definitely nice to have those ladies in our life. But oh no,
I second that.
You have no clue how close to death you were. Whew. I didn't realize I was till after I splashed the water, and then I realized I have never done that since. I'm afraid to do that again.
Yeah, that's like you're just asking. Yeah, it's a big negative.
So, well, Jeremy, I know it's 11 o'clock your time. Yeah, I need to do a reverse camera sometime, Gary Stewart. Yep, she is the best. The one about the knitting hats, Honeybee, that actually is my sister-in-law. That's my brother Ethan. I want to give a shout out to my brother Ethan. He actually was the coordinator over the workshops.
Yeah, it was
And
awesome.
I almost forgot to mention him tonight.
Yeah.
He's super reliable. So he set up all the sound equipment for it, set up tables, all the audio visual, PowerPoint, any of those things. And also set up the honey show as well. Anything extra that they need with the lighting. Ethan's awesome. And so really appreciate that. His wife does all of that. She starts working on those like right after the expo because it takes a long time to make those. But Ethan was Ethan's guitar went for like $1,100.
Yeah,
Nice.
For the youth program. He dubbed it the Honey Caster. And also Greg Burns' family got that for Greg, and it's in. So whenever you watch one of Greg's lives right now, it's in the background. You get to see it. So that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Guys, we made it through another year. We survived. I want to get a staff shirt that says "I survived the Bee Expo 2025."
I like it.
Yeah, I figured you might. But well, Jake, guys, it sounds like we're going to be doing some wax dipping here at my place before too long. Hope you guys can make it. I'm going to schedule a time here in the next month, and any of you guys that are watching that's part of my team, if you can make it, bring your equipment. We're going to do some wax dip, and there's got to be some perks to dealing with all the crazy people at the expo.
Yeah.
And one of them is we're going to wax dip that equipment.
Maybe we could video some footage for your channel when we're doing it, just to see how fun it will be.
Oh yeah, I think we should do it, and I can't wait to watch Jake dip all of them.
Oh wow!
We're gonna bring camping
thanks,
chairs.
buddy.
Jake's gonna.
Well, Jake's the youngest one there, so
I'll bring my
be
brother.
The one doing the.
I'll bring my brother.
Lifting.
He and Jake can dip.
Plus, Jed made this thing a little too tall for me. It's a little hard to reach all the way up when the handle goes all the way up.
Oh, have you not shown people that you have to stand on a step stool to get in there?
Only if you're cleaning out the bottom of it, and you don't have to do that very often, like ever. It's not an issue. It's a non-issue. What's terrible is I've got one of Jed's 70-gallon bottling tanks, which is really nice. But whenever we got to clean it out,
you got to get down inside of
step ladder.
You probably fit in it.
I could. I mean, you could stuff 2 Caymans in that 70-gallon thing if you folded me up nicely. It's quite big. 28-14. Is that Ohio State?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
They're going to pull it off.
What a bunch of bums. So is this actually like this isn't the national championship or is it?
No, it's they played Notre Dame for the championship.
Huh. Oh yeah, that was one of his uncapping tanks I think he was making.
Wow.
I was just fooling around and Chris took that.
I got a picture with you in the one tank.
David McNay, let me know. I'll be there. Yeah, don't call us. We'll call you, Sorghum Boy.
Yeah.
Wax dip T-shirts. Oh, that sounds awful. It would rip the hair right off of Jake's chest. It'd be awful.
That would be.
So, anyways, well, folks, thanks for hanging on extra long. This has been the longest chat I've done in a while. Guys, appreciate it. Yep. Look forward to talking to you soon. If you guys need anything, holler at us, okay?
Thank you for letting us on. Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
See you, brother Jake.
You all take care.
See you guys.
All right. Chris, put us in the back room. Now.